Imagine living a life where your actions match your potential, where you no longer feel like you're drifting, distracted, or constantly behind. A life where your goals aren't just wishes, but clear targets that you're getting closer to every day. But let's be honest, how often do you catch yourself making excuses, breaking promises to yourself, or waiting for motivation that never comes? Discipline is the difference between who you are and who you could be. Without it, you stay stuck. You fall into the same cycles: comfort, delay, regret. But with it, everything changes. You take control, you stop reacting to life, and you start shaping it. Today, you're going to learn 12 powerful lessons from Stoicism that will show you how to build unshakable discipline, step by step. These aren't abstract ideas. They're tools used by warriors, leaders, and philosophers who faced chaos, pain, and doubt, and still chose discipline every single time. Get ready, because after this video, you'll stop waiting to feel ready and start acting with purpose, no matter what. Before we begin, I want you to make a serious commitment to yourself. Write this in the comments. Starting today, I choose discipline over comfort. I am stoic. This is not just a phrase, it's a decision, a turning point. Repeat it, own it, burn it into your mind until it becomes your new default. Now let's begin, because the path to strength, clarity, and freedom starts with discipline. And discipline starts now. Number 1. Discipline is identity engineering. You are not just what you say you are what you do, especially when no one is watching. Every action you take is like casting a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you're shaping something far greater than a moment. You're shaping your identity. Let that sink in, because here's the truth. Who you are is not fixed. It's not something you were born with, written in stone, or assigned at birth. Who you are is a work in progress, and discipline is the tool, the chisel, that sculpts you into the version of yourself you were meant to be. You don't become strong by saying, "I want to be strong." You become strong by showing up to lift the weight when it's heavy. You don't become focused by reading about productivity. You become focused by resisting distractions when they come, and they will come. So, stop waiting to feel like a disciplined person. You don't wait for that identity to fall into your lap. You force it into existence. You build it, brick by brick, action by action. Understand this. You are never faking it when you choose discipline. You are forging it, like steel under fire. Let's talk about forging. When a blacksmith creates a sword, they take raw metal and expose it to extreme heat and pressure. They beat it into shape, over and over, again and again. It doesn't start out sharp or strong or worthy. It becomes those things through process, through repetition, through fire. And that's what you are doing when you choose to do what's hard, what's uncomfortable, what others avoid. You are forging identity. Ask yourself, who do I want to be? A person of clarity? A person of purpose? A person others can depend on? Good. Then show up like that. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. It starts with the small choices, the quiet ones, the unseen ones. Choosing to study when you're tired. Choosing to be honest when it's easier to lie. Choosing to wake up when the bed wants to trap you for another hour. Each one of those moments is an opportunity to cast a vote. And the more votes you cast, the more you reinforce that identity. Eventually, you don't have to think about it anymore. You won't need to force yourself as much, because discipline becomes your default. It becomes you. But it starts with force. It starts with deciding. You can't just hope discipline will appear one day like magic. You can't wait to feel ready. That's not how it works. Let me be brutally honest with you. If you're waiting to feel like a disciplined person before you act like one, you'll stay lost. You'll stay stuck in the cycle of guilt, regret, and mediocrity. That's not where you belong. You are capable of more, but capability is worthless without action. And action requires discipline. Discipline is hard, yes, but it's the kind of hard that builds, that heals, that elevates. It's the hard that pays off. Comfort is also hard, but it's the kind of hard that costs, that decays, that steals from your potential. So you choose. Every time you take the easy road, you cast a vote for the person you say you don't want to be. Think about that. If you say, I want to be someone who's fit, but you skip workouts, what vote are you casting? If you say, I want to be successful, but you scroll on your phone instead of working, what vote are you casting? You can't lie to your actions. You can post affirmations all day, but if your actions don't match, you're just building a fantasy. Discipline is what builds the real thing. Your future self is watching. Every choice you make today is a message to that person. Are you making them proud or making them pay? Let that question guide you. Don't aim to be perfect. You won't be. No one is. But aim to be consistent. Aim to be intentional. Aim to act even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. That's the difference between those who change their lives and those who stay stuck blaming the world, blaming their parents, blaming their circumstances. You weren't born to be a victim of your environment. You were born to shape it by shaping yourself. And it begins here, with discipline. So when you face the next small decision, the next moment of temptation or laziness or fear, ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? Then act like it. Because the more times you act like the person you want to be, the less it becomes acting, and the more it becomes you. That's identity engineering, and it starts now. Number 2, emotions are not authority. Your emotions are not your commander. They speak, yes, but they should not rule. Because the truth is this: feelings are real, but they are not always right. Let that settle into your bones. You will feel tired. You will feel doubtful. You will feel afraid, angry, lonely, distracted. You will feel all the things humans are wired to feel, and sometimes at the exact wrong time. But if you let those feelings become your authority, your life will be ruled by emotional weather. Some days will be sunny, full of motivation, energy, inspiration, and on those days you'll feel like you can do anything. But what about when the storm hits? What about when it rains discouragement? When fog clouds your purpose? When the wind of self-doubt howls so loudly you can't hear your goals? Will you stop? Will you retreat? Will you crawl back into comfort and call it self-care? Or will you rise anyway? That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is internal order. It's the system you build when emotions try to tear everything down. It's not the absence of feelings. It's the refusal to obey them when they contradict your purpose. Understand this. Your emotions are messengers, not masters. They can tell you what you're experiencing, but they don't get to decide your next move. Just because you feel unmotivated doesn't mean you are incapable. Just because you feel tired doesn't mean you are finished. Just because you feel fear doesn't mean you are in danger. Discipline is what steps in and says, "Thank you for the input, but I'm going forward anyway." You don't build a life of greatness by asking your feelings for permission. You build it by doing the work, whether you feel like it or not. Let me be clear. Feelings are valid. They are part of you. They are not to be ignored, but they are also not to be worshipped. Laziness will try to sound reasonable. It'll whisper, "You've worked hard enough. You deserve a break. This can wait until tomorrow." Fear will try to disguise itself as wisdom. It'll say, "What if you fail? What will people think? You're not ready." And comfort, it will dress up like kindness. It'll say, "Be gentle with yourself. Stay where it's safe. Don't push so hard." But all of those voices share one goal: to keep you the same. And discipline is the voice that breaks through and says, "No, not today. We move forward." You must decide once and for all that your emotions do not get to drive the car. They can ride along. You can listen to them, but they don't get to hold the wheel. You are not a puppet of your moods. You are a builder. You are a sculptor. You are a soldier for your goals. And that means you march forward, even when it's uphill, even when it's dark, even when your feelings scream for you to turn back. Look around at the people who have done great things: the artists, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the leaders. Do you think they always felt like working, like training, like showing up? Of course not. But they didn't wait for permission. They moved anyway. And you must too. Because every time you choose action over apathy, you strengthen the muscle of discipline. Every time you show up in spite of your mood, you prove to yourself that you are not ruled by impulse. You are ruled by intention. That's power. That's maturity. That's growth. So the next time you don't feel like doing the thing, the next time you're tempted to skip the workout, delay the project, avoid the hard conversation, pause. Don't react. Ask yourself, is this feeling helping me become who I want to be? And if it's not, thank it for its message and do the opposite. Yes, you will feel resistance. That's part of the path. But do not confuse resistance with a stop sign. It's a test to see if you'll act on principle, not pressure, on vision, not emotion, on discipline, not desire. And when you pass that test, when you override emotion with order, you unlock something incredible. You reclaim your direction, you regain control of your life, and you prove that your mind is a kingdom where you sit on the throne, not your feelings. That is the power of discipline. And that is what will carry you forward when every emotion tries to hold you back. Number 3, pain is a compass, not a cage. Pain isn't here to break you. It's here to guide you, but most people run from it. They treat discomfort like it's the enemy, like it's something to be avoided at all costs. They numb it, hide from it, complain about it, or distract themselves with anything that will make it go away, even temporarily. But here's the truth. Pain is not a prison. It's a compass. It's pointing somewhere, if you're brave enough to follow. You need to understand something deep and transformative. The things you fear doing the most are often the things you most need to do. Think about that. Why does your chest tighten when you think about that one hard conversation? Why does your stomach drop when you consider pursuing that big goal? Why does your mind flood with excuses when you're about to start that habit you've been avoiding for years? Because pain shows up at the edge of growth, right where you stop and your potential begins. But if you turn away every time something feels uncomfortable, you never break through. You never stretch. You never see what's on the other side. You stay stuck in a loop of avoidance and call it peace. But avoiding pain doesn't bring peace. It brings regret. It brings a life half-lived. Pain is not trying to destroy you. It's trying to shape you. When you walk into pain deliberately, when you lean into discomfort instead of recoiling from it, you send a powerful message to your brain. I am not afraid to evolve. You rewire your instincts. You transform pain from something to fear into something to follow, because growth doesn't come wrapped in ease. It comes wrapped in resistance. No one builds strength in a weightless gym. No one builds courage in the absence of fear. No one builds mastery without first feeling like a beginner. The pain of effort, the sting of failure, the burn of pushing past your limit, that's the forge. That's the price of transformation. Pain is the teacher, not the torturer. It shows you where you're still soft, where you're still avoiding, where your fear still has roots. And if you're courageous enough to sit with it, to really feel it, it will teach you what no book, no course, no motivational video ever could. It will show you the exact coordinates of the treasure you're meant to dig for. Let's get practical. Ask yourself, what are you avoiding right now because it's uncomfortable? Is it getting up earlier, starting that side project, facing the truth about your health, cutting ties with someone toxic, admitting that you've wasted time? Whatever that thing is, it hurts for a reason, but the reason is not to stop you. The reason is to call you, to summon a stronger, clearer, more capable version of yourself. And here's the twist. Once you move toward the pain, once you start doing the thing you've been resisting, you realize it was never as overwhelming as it felt in your head. Most pain is magnified in our imagination. It's not the event. It's the fear of the event. It's not the workout. It's the dread before it. It's not the conversation. It's the 1,000 anxious rehearsals in your mind. But once you walk into it with courage, the fear begins to dissolve. And the space that fear occupied, it gets replaced by growth, by pride, by momentum. You become the kind of person who doesn't flinch at pain, but follows it, who uses it like a compass. Because you know, if it hurts, there's probably gold buried there. So when life gets uncomfortable, when you feel the burn, the pressure, the emotional friction, don't run, don't hide, don't wait for it to pass. Pause. Listen. Ask yourself, what is this pain trying to teach me? Then move in that direction, because that's where the real you lives, not the comfortable you, not the version of you that fits into the mold others expect. The real you, the one that was born for something bigger, lives in the fire. Pain is not a cage, it's not your enemy, it's your compass. And it's pointing somewhere bold, somewhere powerful. Follow it. Number 4, build systems, not motivation. You don't need more motivation. What you need is a system. Motivation is a liar. It shows up when it wants. It disappears when you need it most. It's that friend who makes promises when everything is easy and vanishes the second it gets hard. If your success depends on how motivated you feel, you're building on sand. You can't afford that. Because life will not always be calm. You will have bad days. You will be tired, anxious, distracted. People will disappoint you. Weather will shift. Deadlines will close in. Chaos will knock on your door when you least expect it. And when it does, you won't have time to dig around looking for inspiration. You need something stronger, something reliable. You need a system. What's a system? It's a structure, a process, a set of actions you commit to no matter what. It doesn't rely on your mood. It doesn't ask if you feel like it. It just runs. Let me show you the difference. Motivation says, I'll go to the gym when I feel inspired. System says, I go to the gym at 6 a.m. every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, no matter how I feel. Motivation says, I'll write when the creativity hits. System says, I write 500 words every day at 8 p.m., even if they're terrible. Motivation says, I'll eat clean when I'm in the right headspace. System says, my meals are planned every Sunday night, and I follow the plan. You see it now? Motivation makes you reactive. Systems make you proactive. You don't wake up every day feeling powerful. You won't always be inspired. And that's okay, because if you've built a system, your actions don't depend on your feelings. Your progress doesn't rise and fall with your emotional temperature. A system is like a safety net for your goals. It catches you when life tries to pull you off track. Let's be honest. High performers don't succeed because they're more motivated than everyone else. They succeed because they have systems that carry them through when motivation dies. Think about the people you admire, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the creators, the disciplined. Do you really think they wake up every single day excited to do the work? No. But they've made it automatic. They've created habits, rituals, routines, anchors that hold them steady through every storm. You need to do the same. You don't need to wait until everything feels perfect to act. That's what amateurs do. That's what keeps people stuck in the loop of someday. Professionals, people who take themselves seriously, build systems that don't care if it's raining, if it's Monday, or if they're in the mood. Let's take this further. You can't feel your way to success. You have to design your way there. Design your days, design your triggers, design your environment. Remove friction, add cues. Set up routines so simple they become second nature. Want to work out in the morning? Lay out your clothes the night before. Want to write consistently? Block off the same time every day. Want to eat better? Meal prep once a week and eliminate decision fatigue. Make the right thing the easy thing. Because here's the kicker. Systems beat willpower every time. Why? Because willpower is a finite resource. It fades. It drains. But systems, they don't care if you're tired. They don't need to be in the mood. They run on autopilot. And when you fall off, and you will, your system becomes the ladder that helps you climb back up. That's the beauty of it. You don't rely on hype. You rely on structure. So today, stop asking yourself, how do I stay motivated? Instead, ask, what system can I build that runs even when I'm not at my best? Build that. Reinforce it. Refine it. Because motivation will leave. But your system, that's what stays. That's what shows up when you don't feel like it. That's what turns ordinary people into disciplined warriors. That's what wins. Build systems and let them carry you when nothing else can. Number 5. Sacrifice is the entry fee for purpose. There is no purpose without a price. We live in a world that constantly tells you that you can have everything, that you don't need to give anything up, that you can chase success without letting go of comfort, that you can live with clarity without first facing the cost. But here's the truth, raw and unfiltered. If you want a meaningful life, you're going to have to give something up. That's not a punishment. That's the entry fee. Discipline always asks for sacrifice. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner your life starts to mean something. Ask anyone who's done something great. The athlete who trains while others party. The artist who paints through loneliness. The entrepreneur who works through uncertainty. The parent who sacrifices sleep and time and comfort for their child's future. Every one of them had to pay the price. Because purpose isn't found in ease. It's found in what you're willing to lay on the altar of your dreams. Let's break this down. You will have to give up time. That's non-negotiable. You will lose weekends, hours of rest, invitations you'll have to decline, not because you don't care, but because your purpose demands focus. You will have to give up ease, because clarity doesn't come from doing what's comfortable. It comes from wrestling with what's hard. You will have to struggle. You will have to stretch. You will have to be uncomfortable more often than not. You may have to give up relationships. Not all, but some. The people who don't understand the path you're walking. The ones who drain your energy, mock your discipline, or try to keep you the same so they feel better about standing still. Love them, but release them. Your purpose can't afford passengers who don't want to grow. And hardest of all, you will have to sacrifice versions of yourself. Yes, you will have to let go of who you've been in order to become who you're meant to be. That's the sacrifice most people run from. Not the time, not the sleep, but the identity. You'll have to bury the lazy you, the victim-minded you, the insecure, approval-chasing, excuse-making version of you. And it hurts. It really does. Because even your lesser self is familiar. It's comfortable. But it's also the reason you haven't moved forward. You can't walk into your future dragging your past like a suitcase. At some point you have to ask yourself, what am I willing to give up to live with purpose? Because purpose doesn't arrive by accident. It isn't handed to you. You don't stumble into it while binge-watching your life away. It shows up when you clear space for it, when you create room, and that means letting something else go. Now, here's what most people misunderstand. Sacrifice is not about losing for the sake of loss. It's not punishment, it's investment. You're not just giving something up, you're trading. You're trading a short-term comfort for a long-term calling, a temporary pleasure for lasting pride, a moment of ease for a life of depth. It's not deprivation, it's direction. When you sacrifice with intention, something powerful happens. You gain clarity. You stop being pulled in 1,000 directions. You stop living in the fog of maybe. You start to see clearly what matters and what doesn't, what's essential and what's noise. Clarity always costs. The people who have it, they've bled for it. They've chosen to say no to many things so they could say yes to the right things. So here's the challenge. Make peace with sacrifice. Stop trying to dodge it. Stop hoping you can find purpose without pain. You can't. No one ever has. Instead, choose your sacrifice. Choose what to let go of. Choose it boldly. Let it hurt. Let it burn away the unnecessary. And as it does, watch your life take shape. Because every time you say, I'm willing to give this up, you are also saying, I'm ready to become who I was meant to be. That is the power of discipline. That is the price of purpose, and it is worth every ounce. Number 6. Self-respect comes from self-control. You cannot truly respect yourself if you keep breaking your own promises. It doesn't matter how confident you appear. It doesn't matter how much you post about growth, how many books you've read, or how loud you talk about discipline. At the end of the day, when you're alone with your thoughts, there's one quiet question echoing inside you. Can I trust myself? That's what self-respect is really about. Not external validation, not how others see you, but whether you believe your own words, whether you look in the mirror and know you show up even when it's hard, even when no one's clapping, even when it would be easier to quit. Discipline is not just a path to success, it's a path to dignity. Let me say it clearly. Self-control is how you earn your own respect. It's how you build a life where you don't flinch when you think about your habits, where you're not haunted by guilt because you've broken your own rules for the 1,000th time, where your confidence isn't a mask, it's a mirror reflecting what you actually do. Too many people are chasing self-esteem like it's a product you can download, a mindset you can just adopt. But it doesn't work like that. You don't think your way to self-respect, you act your way there. Self-respect is built in the trenches. It's built every time you wake up when you said you would. Every time you resist the easy option and choose the harder, better one. Every time you say, "No, I don't do that anymore," and follow through. Every time you do the thing you said you'd do, especially when you didn't feel like it. That's where confidence comes from. It's not from hype, it's from history. Your history with yourself. Think about it. When someone constantly lies to you, do you respect them? Of course not. And your brain applies that same standard to you. If you constantly lie to yourself, "I'll start tomorrow. This is the last time. I'll just skip once." Your subconscious takes note. It learns not to believe you, and that creates a fracture inside. You walk around feeling off. You don't know why. You just feel small, fragile, like an imposter in your own skin. Because deep down, you know you've abandoned your own standards. Now, here's the powerful flip side. Every time you act with self-control, you repair that fracture. You become someone your own mind respects, someone your soul can lean on, someone who doesn't need to scream confidence, because it's already rooted inside. That's the version of you you're meant to become. But it's not free. It requires self-denial. It requires saying no to temporary urges. It requires missing out on certain pleasures, resisting certain temptations, breaking certain patterns. Yes, it's hard, but you know what's harder? Living a life where you don't respect yourself, where you shrink in your own presence, where you avoid silence because you can't stand your own reflection, where you keep chasing outside success to fill the void that only discipline can fill. So what's the answer? Start small, but start strong. Pick one commitment and keep it. Just one. Make it non-negotiable. Show yourself that your word matters. Let your actions prove your strength. One day, one choice, one decision at a time. And every time you choose control over chaos, order over impulse, discipline over indulgence, you cast a vote. A vote for the version of you that you do respect. A version that doesn't just talk about goals, but lives them. A version that doesn't have to fake confidence because it's built on truth. This is how you rebuild yourself. This is how you walk with your head held high, not because of ego, but because you've earned it. Self-respect isn't gifted, it's forged. Through repetition, through responsibility, through restraint. And the moment you begin controlling yourself is the moment your identity begins to change. Not just how others see you, but how you see you. And that's the foundation for everything. Because when you trust yourself, there is nothing you cannot build. Number 7. Resistance is a sign you're on the right path. Let's get one thing straight. If it's hard, it probably matters. And if it's too easy, you might be headed nowhere fast. Most people live their lives trying to avoid resistance. They treat struggle like a warning sign. This feels hard. Maybe it's not meant for me. This challenge keeps coming up. Maybe I should back off. This doesn't come naturally. Maybe I'm not cut out for it. But that mindset, that's the mindset of someone sleepwalking through life. Resistance is not the enemy, it's the compass. It's how you know you've stepped outside the shallow end. It's the signal that you're not playing it safe anymore, that you've left the comfort zone and entered the arena, the place where growth, purpose, and real self-respect are forged. Ask yourself, when have you grown the most in life? Was it when things were smooth, when the answers came easy, when you were coasting? Or was it during the seasons when you were uncomfortable, uncertain, even overwhelmed, but still moving forward? You already know the answer. Discipline teaches you this one brutal but beautiful truth. Struggle is proof, not a problem. It means you're alive, awake, reaching for something higher than survival. It means you're pushing against the current of mediocrity, not just floating downstream with everyone else. That tension you feel, that weight in your chest before the hard decision, that friction in your mind when you try to break an old habit, that's resistance doing its job. It shows up anytime you try to change, anytime you try to elevate, anytime you try to do something meaningful instead of something easy. It's not a sign to stop, it's a sign to start paying attention. In fact, the more resistance you feel towards something, the more likely it's tied to your purpose. Why? Because your greatest potential lives on the other side of your greatest fears, and resistance is the gatekeeper. It doesn't show up to block you, it shows up to test you. To ask you, how bad do you want it? Are you serious about this? Will you show up even when it's inconvenient, messy, or uncertain? If you're not facing resistance right now, you should be concerned, because that means you're probably playing it safe, settling, stuck, or worse, asleep in a life that doesn't challenge you. Let's make it real. Resistance is the voice in your head saying, skip the gym today. Don't speak up. It's safer to stay quiet. You're not good enough. Why even try? It's the weight you feel every time you sit down to work on your goals. It's the anxiety before trying something new. It's the pull of your old life trying to keep you where you've always been. But here's the good news. Every time you feel resistance and push through it, you grow. You build something no one can take from you. Resilience. The ability to keep going when others stop. The ability to endure when others fold. The ability to stay committed when your feelings scream for comfort. And that is discipline in action. That is how champions are made, not by avoiding resistance, but by making it their training ground. So, the next time you feel it, lean in. Don't run. Don't rationalize. Don't retreat. Look it straight in the face and say, thank you. You just showed me where the work is. Let resistance become your radar, your guiding light, your confirmation that you're not lost. You're leveling up, because if the path is too easy, you're probably not on the one that leads to greatness. You're probably not walking toward your calling. You're just wandering inside your comfort zone. And let's be honest, you weren't born for easy. You were born for impact. And impact comes with friction. So walk toward the resistance. It's not a barrier, it's a signpost. It means you're on the right path. Number 8. Micro-commitments. Build macro destiny. Greatness doesn't begin with a grand gesture. It begins with something so small, it almost feels insignificant. Embarrassingly small. One glass of water, one push-up, one honest sentence in a journal, one page of a book, one decision to put the phone down and focus. It starts there. Not with a breakthrough moment, not with fire and lightning, but with a quiet commitment. So small, so simple. It's easy to ignore, or worse, easy to underestimate. But here's the truth. Massive change begins with micro-commitments. We tend to romanticize transformation. We imagine a bold moment that changes everything, a declaration, a dramatic shift. But real transformation doesn't work like that. Real change happens slowly, silently, incrementally, and then, suddenly. You don't climb a mountain by leaping to the top. You climb it one small, deliberate step at a time. And each step, each micro-commitment, is a vote for your future. Each one compounds. Each one adds up. And together, over time, they shape your destiny. Let's get one thing clear. It's not the size of your action that matters most. It's your consistency with it. Anyone can sprint for a week. Anyone can go all in for 3 days, feel inspired, and then crash back into old habits. But that doesn't build anything lasting. You build legacy, self-respect, results, by showing up again and again in small ways that most people overlook. Here's the secret. Tiny actions, when repeated relentlessly, become unshakable identity. Drink that glass of water every morning. You become someone who values your body. Read 5 pages a day. You become someone who feeds your mind. Walk around the block after dinner. You become someone who moves. Make your bed. You become someone who takes ownership. And here's the kicker. Once that identity starts forming, your momentum multiplies. Suddenly, what once felt like effort becomes normal. What felt impossible becomes automatic. But it only happens if you start tiny and stay consistent. Most people fail not because they aim too low, but because they aim too high, too fast. They say, "I'll run 5 miles every day," when they haven't stretched in years. They say, "I'll read a book a week," when they haven't finished one in months. They burn out in the first few days and call it failure. But it wasn't failure. It was unsustainable pressure. It was ego, not wisdom. Discipline is not about proving something to the world in 7 days. It's about building something within yourself for the next 70 years. And for that, you need micro-commitments. You need tiny, clear, repeatable actions. Think of them like seeds. Each act of discipline you plant, no matter how small, has the potential to grow into something massive. But only if you water it, protect it, repeat it, not once, not when it's convenient, but daily. That's how you build macro destiny. That's how you turn who you are into who you want to become. It's not flashy, it's not glamorous, but it's effective and it's real. So here's your challenge. Pick something small, so small it feels silly. Then do it every single day, without excuse, without fail. Write 1 sentence in your journal. Stretch for 2 minutes. Turn off your phone 1 hour before bed. Say no to 1 distraction. Start there, because if you can't manage the micro, you're not ready for the macro. The people who achieve great things don't do it all at once. They start small, stay steady, and let time do its work. And one day, you'll look back and realize that tiny habit changed everything. Your future is not waiting for a big leap. It's waiting for a small, repeated choice. That's the path. That's the secret. Start tiny, stay consistent, and watch your destiny unfold. Number 9. Accountability is a discipline accelerator. You may be strong, you may be driven, you may be full of ambition, ideas, and fire. But if no one's watching, if no one knows your goals, your standards, your struggles, you will always be 1 step closer to slipping. Discipline thrives in visibility. That's what accountability is. It's not about control. It's not about shame. It's about exposure, about stepping out of the shadows and into the light where your excuses can't hide. Let's get brutally honest. When your goals live only in your head, they are easily buried. One skipped workout? No one knows. One broken promise? No one saw it. One lazy day? You rationalize it and move on. But when your commitments are out loud, when someone else sees them, knows them, holds you to them, everything changes. Because now there's pressure, now there's truth. Now you can't pretend you're doing your best when you're not even showing up. And that's exactly why most people avoid accountability. Because it removes the illusion. It reveals whether you're actually committed or just pretending to be. But here's the thing. If you're serious about discipline, you need someone to see you. Someone who doesn't buy your excuses. Someone who reminds you of your standard when you start to lower it. Someone who asks, "Did you follow through?" and means it. You don't need a cheerleader. You need a mirror. A mirror that reflects both your growth and your gaps. And even more powerful, become that mirror for yourself. Be the one who checks in at the end of the day and asks, "Did I live like I said I would? Did I act like the person I'm trying to become? Did I rise or did I rationalize?" That's radical accountability. That's how self-respect is built. That's how momentum becomes permanent. Still not convinced? Let's talk about measurement. The more you measure, the more you move. Think about it. People who track their workouts improve faster. People who log their food make better choices. People who write down their goals are more likely to reach them. Why? Because what gets measured gets managed. It's not about obsession, it's about clarity. When you know exactly where you stand, you know exactly where to go. So set up systems that track your progress. Use a habit tracker. Review your wins weekly. Write down the promises you've kept and the ones you've broken. Make the invisible visible. Because as long as your lack of discipline lives in the dark, it will grow. But once you shine a light on it, once you bring it into the open, it loses its power. Here's your challenge. Stop doing this alone. That's not noble. That's just slower. Tell someone your goals. Ask them to check in. Give them permission to ask the hard questions. And when they do, don't get defensive. Get determined. Let accountability shape you. Let it sharpen you. Because accountability isn't weakness, it's leverage. It's how disciplined people move faster, how they stay honest, how they course correct before drifting too far. No more hiding, no more halfway. You want to move with discipline? Bring it into the light. Measure it. Track it. Speak it. Let others in. Let yourself be seen. Because the moment you step into visibility, the game changes. Now you're not just hoping to stay on track. You're committed to it. You're backed by truth. You're supported by structure. You're running with clarity.
And that clarity? That's your accelerator.
Discipline alone is powerful, but discipline with accountability, that's unstoppable. Number 10, default to action, not reflection. Think less. Move more. Yes, thinking has value. Yes, reflection is important. But let's get one thing clear. Overthinking is where discipline goes to die. How many goals have you buried under a pile of what-ifs? How many dreams have you delayed because you weren't ready yet? How many times have you sat in thought, paralyzed by the idea of needing the perfect first step? Let's tell the truth. Thinking won't save you. Doing will. You can read all the books, watch all the videos, talk about your plans for hours. But if you're not moving, if you're not doing something, you're stuck. Stuck in mental loops, stuck in procrastination dressed up as planning, stuck in analysis while your potential gathers dust. Discipline is not built in theory. It is built in motion. It is built in sweat, in missteps, in showing up, in doing things before you feel totally ready. You don't become disciplined by thinking about being disciplined. You become disciplined by choosing action over inertia, again and again and again. There's a name for this: momentum over meditation. Not in the spiritual sense, but in the sense that most people use reflection as a way to delay what they already know they should be doing. They say things like, "I need more time to think. I'm still figuring it out. I'll act once I'm clear." But here's the truth that most people miss. Clarity comes through movement. You don't think your way into clarity, you move into it. The fog clears when you start walking, not before. That first step, the awkward one, the uncertain one, the imperfect one, that's the key. And if you don't know where to step, just do the next useful thing. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be bold, it just has to be forward. Write one paragraph, go for one walk, clean one part of your room, send one message, handle one task that's been haunting you. Anything that breaks the loop of hesitation and reactivates motion. Because once you move, even a little, something shifts. Your brain wakes up. Your energy changes. Discipline kicks in, not because you thought your way into it, but because you acted your way into it. Understand this: inaction breeds fear. Action breeds courage. You will never feel ready. You will never feel 100% sure. And that's okay. You don't need certainty to move, you need urgency. The longer you sit, the heavier the weight becomes. The task doesn't get easier while you think about it. The fear doesn't shrink while you debate it. The opportunity doesn't wait while you analyze it. It moves, with or without you. And every moment you delay is a vote for staying stuck. Every step you don't take reinforces the belief that you're not capable. Every thought without action becomes a wall between you and your potential. So here's the new rule: default to action. Don't overthink your next step. Take it. Don't wait to feel ready. Start moving and become ready along the way. Don't look for perfect. Look for progress. Build the habit of doing, not someday, not after more planning, but now. Because discipline doesn't reward the most thoughtful, it rewards the most active. And you already know what needs to be done. You've thought about it long enough. Now it's time to move. You'll make mistakes. Good. You'll stumble. That's part of it. You'll learn faster than you ever would sitting still. Action will teach you what thinking never could. So stop overloading your brain. Start loading your calendar with actions. And remember this: you don't rise by thinking about the stairs. You rise by taking the first step, then the next, and the next. That's how discipline is built. One movement at a time. One decision to act, even when it's uncomfortable. Let others overthink. You move. Default to action. And watch your life transform. Number 11. Stop worshipping balance. Embrace obsession, temporarily. Let's break a popular myth. Balance is not always the answer. It's a beautiful word. A soothing word. The kind of word that makes you feel like you're doing things right. But here's the truth most people won't say out loud. Balance doesn't build empires. Obsession does. Yes, long-term sustainability matters. Yes, burnout is real. But so is mediocrity. And sometimes what you need is not a balanced life. You need an unbalanced season. A season of intensity. A season of tunnel vision. A season where you trade comfort for progress, distractions for discipline, and nice-to-have routines for the one thing that sets your soul on fire. That's not dysfunction. That's focus. And focus, when fueled by obsession, is how real things get built. Look around at anything extraordinary. A business, a body, a book, a masterpiece. None of it was created in balance. It was built in deep, dedicated, almost unreasonable pursuit, while others were relaxing, while others were scrolling, while others were maintaining balance, someone was obsessing and building momentum that changed everything. So, no, this isn't a call to abandon your health, your relationships, or your mind. This is a call to stop hiding behind balance when what you actually need is intensity. Sometimes discipline means saying, I will give this everything I have, for now. That's the key. For now. It's not forever, but it is for this season, for this chapter, for this goal, for this mission. Because some things in life deserve your full, undivided obsession. And guess what? Balance will be there when you return. But here's what won't be: the opportunity you missed because you were too afraid of going too far. The version of yourself you could have met if you hadn't diluted your energy across too many lanes. The momentum that could have changed everything if you had just committed fully, without apology. Discipline isn't always tidy. It's not always balanced. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it makes you look like a maniac to people who don't understand what you're building. But that's okay. Let them watch. Let them wonder why you're not at every party, why you're working late, why you're eating different, training harder, speaking less. You're not neglecting your life. You're giving it direction. And obsession, when it's rooted in purpose, is not a flaw. It's rocket fuel. It's the reason elite athletes train when no one's watching. It's the reason authors write while the world sleeps. It's the reason creators make 10 things that flop just to find the one that takes off. You don't get to the extraordinary by living in the middle. So here's your permission. Go all in. For a while. Without guilt. Without needing approval. Choose your obsession. Design your environment around it. Cut out what dilutes it, and give it everything you've got. Will people misunderstand you? Probably. Will you feel alone sometimes? Yes. Will it be worth it? Absolutely. Because there will come a time, after the work, after the sweat, after the sacrifice, when you look back and say, that season of obsession was the season that changed my life. And when that moment comes, balance will feel sweeter, because you earned it, because you didn't use it as an excuse. You used it as a recovery point after the storm of discipline passed. So no, don't fear obsession. Fear mediocrity. Fear a life that's always lukewarm. Fear a version of yourself that never goes deep enough, never fights hard enough, never cares intensely enough to break through. Sometimes obsession isn't the problem, it's the answer. So for this season, stop worshipping balance, embrace obsession, and build something that was never meant to be average. Number 12. Discipline is love in action. Discipline gets a bad reputation. People hear the word and think punishment, restriction, rigidity. They think of cold routines, denied pleasures, and a life stripped of spontaneity. But that's not what discipline is. Discipline is love, not the soft, feel-good kind, not the hashtag self-care kind, the real kind, the kind of love that protects, the kind that builds, the kind that says, I care enough to do what's hard, not just what's easy. Discipline is how you prove your love for your future, your goals, your family, your highest potential. Because talk is cheap, intentions are everywhere. But showing up consistently, intentionally, even when no one's watching, that's what love looks like in real life. You don't build discipline just for yourself. You build it for everyone your future self will touch. Every time you choose discipline, you ripple outward. Your kids watch you wake up early and grind, and they learn what commitment looks like. Your partner sees you grow stronger, steadier, and more grounded. Your team sees you keep your word and start to believe they can trust you. Even strangers, yes, strangers, feel the impact when you walk into a room with energy, clarity, and purpose. That's love, because love is not just emotion, it's action, it's intention. It's doing the things you don't feel like doing, because you know what's on the other side matters more. Discipline is the daily "I love you" to your potential. It's how you say, "I won't abandon you." Not when it's hard, not when I'm tired, not even when I'm tempted to. That kind of loyalty, that's sacred. And yes, discipline can feel restrictive at times. It tells you, don't eat that. Don't skip this. Don't waste the evening. But behind every don't is a deeper do. Do honor your body. Do protect your time. Do respect your dreams. Discipline is the system that keeps you from betraying yourself, not because you hate your life, but because you love it too much to let it fall apart. Let's be honest. Anyone can act with love when it's easy. Anyone can be generous when they're in the mood. But the world changes when people act with love when it's inconvenient, when it's early, when it's late, when it's boring or painful or completely unglamorous. Discipline is doing the hard thing, not for applause, but out of devotion. It's loving the outcome more than the moment. It's choosing the long game over the shortcut. And that kind of love, it leaves a legacy. Because the greatest gift you can give the people you love is the strongest, clearest, most self-respecting version of yourself. That version is not born through chaos, it is built through discipline. So the next time you feel like skipping, quitting, coasting, remember this: you are not just practicing discipline, you are practicing love in action. When you say no to temptation, you say yes to a future worth having. When you go for that run, write that chapter, choose that routine, you are casting a vote for your future. You're saying, I am worth this. The people I care about are worth this. That's not restrictive. That's freedom. That's honor. That's purpose. Discipline is how you show love to everything that matters most without saying a word. So wear it proudly, live it daily, not to punish yourself, but to protect everything sacred in your life. Because in the end, discipline is not the enemy of freedom, it's the foundation of it. Discipline is love, loud, clear, relentless love. And it's the kind that changes everything. You don't stumble into discipline, you forge it through choices, sacrifices, struggle, and relentless action. These 12 lessons aren't tips, they're warnings. Because if you don't force yourself to build discipline, you will stay lost, trapped in comfort, controlled by emotion, derailed by resistance, and distracted by balance when what you need is obsession. But if you commit, even in small daily ways, discipline will rebuild you from the inside out. It will become your identity, your armor, and your love letter to the future. So start now, start small, start anyway, and never wait for motivation. Just move. Before you go, drop a comment below. Which of these 12 hit you the hardest? Which one exposed a weakness or lit a fire under your potential? Your comment might be the spark that helps someone else take their first disciplined step. And if you're serious about building a life that doesn't run on feelings, subscribe. This channel is for warriors, not wanderers. Welcome to the path. We all desire to be attractive. But what if I told you that you could become deeply magnetic without even saying a single word? Yes, that's right. Let's explore how you can develop habits that make you socially appealing in complete silence. Not only that, but we're going to do it through the lens of Stoic philosophy. So, if you're ready to understand how to radiate calm, presence, and power, all while embracing true attractiveness, then stay with me. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy rooted in the idea of living in harmony with nature and fully accepting the things we cannot change. It's a path of inner strength, discipline, and wisdom, and these principles can be incredibly effective when it comes to attraction. Because let's be honest, being attractive isn't just about physical appearance. It's about how you behave, how you carry yourself, and how you feel within. Let's break this down into key habits you can cultivate to become quietly captivating. We'll be diving into ideas like confidence, serenity, presence, and more. Each of these habits will be deeply grounded in Stoic thought, and I'll share powerful quotes from famous philosophers that bring each idea to life. This way, you're not just learning how to become more attractive, you're also immersing yourself in a philosophy that has the potential to completely transform your life. So get ready, because we're about to embark on a journey that won't just elevate your presence in the eyes of others, but will also shape you into a wiser, more grounded human being. Before we dive deeper, I'd really appreciate it if you gave this video a like so it can reach more people. And if you don't want to miss any of my upcoming content, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let's begin with the first habit: confidence. Confidence is one of the most attractive traits a person can have, and the beautiful part is, you don't need to speak a single word to express it. Think about this quote by Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic emperors and philosophers. Perfect tranquility consists in the good ordering of the mind, the realm within. This reminds us that real confidence comes from within. It's not about showing off or dominating conversations. It's about having a mind that is calm, centered, and at peace. So how do we build this kind of inner confidence from a Stoic standpoint? First, it's essential to understand that confidence isn't about knowing everything or being superior to others. It's about being comfortable with who you are, embracing both your strengths and your flaws. One powerful practice you can adopt is daily meditation. You don't need hours, just a few minutes a day can have a huge impact. Meditation allows you to connect with yourself, settle your mind, and discover that deep inner stillness Marcus Aurelius spoke of. Over time, you'll notice that you enter social situations with more ease and presence because you've already done the inner work. Another important practice is self-reflection. Take time at the end of each day to look back on your actions and thoughts. What did you handle well? What could you improve? This habit of reflection helps you understand yourself more deeply and creates a foundation of inner strength that builds genuine confidence. This is where Stoicism truly shines. The Stoics teach us to concentrate on what's within our control and to let go of what isn't. So instead of obsessing over how others perceive you, focus on how you show up, your behavior, your character, your principles. This shift in mindset won't just increase your confidence, it will also make you much more attractive, because people can sense when someone is at peace with themselves, Always remember, true confidence is quiet. You don't need to announce your achievements or seek validation. Just be present, be real, and stay internally calm. People naturally gravitate toward those who exude this kind of self-assured, centered energy. Now let's move on to the second habit. Tranquility. Tranquility is an incredibly magnetic quality. When you're calm, you send out signals of security and stability, and that's something many people find deeply attractive. Epictetus, another brilliant Stoic thinker, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This powerful idea teaches us the importance of staying composed and emotionally balanced, no matter what's going on around us. That kind of poise is a true sign of strength. So how can we cultivate more tranquility in our lives? One highly effective method is to practice mindful breathing. When you feel anxious, overwhelmed, or emotionally unsettled, take a pause. Focus on your breath. Inhale deeply through your nose. Let your lungs fill with air, then slowly exhale through your mouth. Repeat this a few times until you feel your mind begin to settle. This simple act of breathwork can instantly bring you back into a state of presence and peace. Another essential practice is learning to accept what you cannot control. Stoicism reminds us that many events in life, like the weather, traffic, or other people's opinions, are outside our influence. So instead of wasting energy getting frustrated, choose acceptance. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, then let it go. This habit of surrendering to what is can not only reduce your stress, it can also give you a quiet, grounded aura that draws people in. Your sense of tranquility also shows up in your body language. Standing tall with relaxed shoulders, steady eye contact, and slow, purposeful movements sends a message of calm and self-possession. Even without words, your demeanor can tell the world, "I am at peace, I am centered." And that's what makes you so attractive in silence. You're not chasing approval, you're not trying to impress. You are simply grounded in who you are. And that stillness, it speaks louder than words ever could. Your gestures and movements should be slow, intentional, and free from haste or nervousness. Maintain eye contact with others, but do so in a natural and effortless way. Never force it. All these subtle cues send a powerful message that you are at ease with yourself and with your surroundings. Calmness is not just a state of mind, it's a visible expression of inner control. When someone displays serenity, it signals that they are not only in command of their emotions, but also able to influence the environment around them. People are naturally drawn to those who can remain composed amidst turmoil because they radiate safety and confidence. Always remember that being calm does not mean being indifferent. It means maintaining a peaceful presence and exercising mastery over your emotional state. This quiet composure speaks volumes about your character without a single word. Let's now move to the third habit. Presence. Presence is one of those intangible qualities that can be hard to describe but unmistakable when witnessed. It's the ability to be fully engaged in the current moment, to be truly involved with the people and situations right in front of you. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once remarked, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." This profound statement highlights how dividing your focus among too many things ultimately means you're not giving your full attention to anything. Presence is the art of giving your undivided awareness to the here and now. To nurture this presence, begin by practicing active listening. When someone speaks to you, truly listen. Don't mentally rehearse your response or allow your eyes to wander toward your phone. Simply listen, and do it sincerely. This alone will make you appear more thoughtful and attentive, while also allowing for deeper human connection. Another essential aspect of presence is being consciously aware of your environment. Observe the details of your surroundings, the expressions, the subtle shifts in energy, not just with your eyes, but with deliberate attention. This level of observation grounds you in the present and helps you react more genuinely to what unfolds around you. Mindfulness is another powerful way to develop presence. It means engaging in your daily tasks with full consciousness. Something as ordinary as drinking tea can become a grounding ritual. Instead of hastily gulping it down, take the time to notice its aroma, savor the taste, and feel the warmth in your hands. These seemingly small practices train your mind to stay rooted in the now. Presence also manifests through your body language. Keep your posture open and relaxed. Show genuine interest through your gestures and facial expressions. Avoid fidgeting or appearing distracted. These are signs that your mind is somewhere else. When you are truly present, people feel it. They sense that they matter to you and that your attention is authentic. This kind of interaction creates stronger, more meaningful connections, which are vital to building genuine appeal. Remember, being present doesn't mean dominating the spotlight. It means being fully tuned in to the moment and to those around you. It's a quiet power that conveys both respect and attentiveness, and it's incredibly compelling. Now we move to the fourth habit: integrity. Integrity is one of those foundational virtues that always stands out, even when unspoken. It's about living in harmony with your principles and values, being truthful, consistent, and reliable in everything you do. Epictetus once said, "First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This quote emphasizes the necessity of aligning your actions with your beliefs. Integrity can't be faked. It must be deeply rooted within your character. To develop integrity, you must first become aware of your own values. What truly matters to you? What principles do you want to guide your life? Take time to reflect on these questions and ensure that your daily actions reflect your answers. When your behavior aligns with your inner beliefs, you naturally exude authenticity, which is inherently attractive. Another essential part of integrity is honesty, not just with others, but also with yourself. This means being able to acknowledge your mistakes and choosing to learn from them. People admire those who have the courage to face their flaws and are committed to personal growth. Being truthful frees you from the exhausting burden of maintaining false appearances and allows you to live with ease and sincerity. Integrity also means keeping your word. If you promise to do something, follow through. Reliability earns trust, and consistency builds a strong reputation. Being someone who can be counted on is a rare and valuable quality, and one that makes you stand out. It shows that you are dependable, stable, and worthy of respect. Lastly, integrity shines through in how you treat others. Approach every person with kindness and respect, regardless of who they are or what they can offer you. This behavior reveals your character more than words ever could. It creates an atmosphere of mutual trust and dignity. When you live a life rooted in integrity, you become someone guided by unwavering principles. People are drawn to honesty and genuineness because these traits foster trust and admiration. Ultimately, becoming someone who others can trust and respect is one of the most powerful ways to increase your silent influence. These qualities reflect emotional maturity and a stable character, something that naturally draws others in. Now, let's move forward with the fifth habit, self-restraint. Self-restraint, also known as self-control, is a vital quality that not only enhances your personal appeal, but also reveals a profound inner strength. In a world where many people react impulsively, someone who can exhibit self-restraint stands out significantly. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most respected Stoic emperors, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This timeless wisdom reminds us that while we cannot control everything happening around us, we do have control over how we respond to those events. So, how do we cultivate self-restraint? The first step is learning to recognize your emotions without allowing them to overpower you. When you find yourself in a tense or triggering situation, take a brief pause to breathe deeply and observe your feelings before responding. This simple act can help you remain composed and prevent you from doing or saying something that you might later regret. Another essential way to nurture self-restraint is by practicing patience. In our fast-paced world, where instant gratification is often the norm, learning to wait can become a powerful form of discipline. Patience reflects the ability to delay immediate desires in pursuit of something more meaningful and enduring. It's a quiet strength that shows you're not controlled by your impulses. Moderation is also a critical part of self-restraint. This doesn't mean you must deny yourself the things you enjoy. It means finding a healthy balance. Whether it's food, social media, or any other form of pleasure, practicing moderation allows you to stay in control rather than becoming consumed by indulgence. Self-restraint also shows itself in how we handle criticism and conflict. Instead of reacting with defensiveness or anger, strive to listen actively and consider other people's perspectives. Responding calmly and thoughtfully not only reflects emotional maturity, but also portrays you as someone who is trustworthy and respectful. It's important to remember that self-restraint is not about suppressing emotions, but about managing them effectively. It signals that you have control over yourself, a trait that is immensely attractive. People naturally admire those who can remain composed and respond with thoughtfulness in all situations. Now, let's continue with the sixth habit, gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful virtue that can change both your life and the way others perceive you. Too often we focus on what we lack or desire, overlooking the many blessings we already have. The Stoics emphasize the importance of appreciating what's in front of us. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This quote teaches us that true wealth lies in valuing what we have, not in endlessly chasing more. Gratitude shifts our mindset toward positivity and helps us cultivate an inner sense of peace and contentment. So, how can we actively develop a grateful heart? One effective method is to keep a gratitude journal. Set aside a few minutes each day to write down 3 things you are thankful for. These could be small moments, like the sun shining through your window, or significant blessings like the health of a loved one. This simple practice helps train your mind to notice and appreciate the good around you. Gratitude can also be expressed in everyday interactions. Be thankful for the people around you, from family and friends to strangers who assist you throughout the day. A sincere thank you may seem small, but it can leave a lasting impression and show others that you truly value their efforts and presence. Another meaningful way to practice gratitude is through daily reflection. Take a moment each day to think about the good things that happened. Even on hard days, seek out at least one positive detail. This consistent attitude of thankfulness makes you more positive and optimistic, traits that naturally attract others. When you embody gratitude, you radiate a kind of energy that draws people in. Those around you feel uplifted and appreciated, sensing your deep appreciation for life. Furthermore, a grateful attitude builds resilience by helping you focus on what's still good, even during tough times. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you. It's about living with a deep sense of appreciation and recognizing the value in both the big and small parts of life. It not only brings more joy and satisfaction to your life, but it also makes you more appealing and pleasant to be around. Now, let's move on to the seventh habit, humility. Humility is a virtue that is often misunderstood, yet it holds incredible power. Being humble doesn't mean thinking less of yourself. It means thinking of yourself less and being more mindful of others. Epictetus once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This quote reminds us that humility is essential for personal growth and continuous learning. True humility involves acknowledging that we don't have all the answers and that there is always something new to understand. It's the openness to learn, the willingness to listen, and the courage to admit when we're wrong. These qualities don't make you weak, they make you wise. Humility creates space for growth, connection, and meaningful relationships. In a world where ego often dominates, a humble person stands out, not through loudness or showiness, but through quiet strength and grounded confidence. It's not about downplaying your worth, but about lifting others up while staying rooted in who you truly are. True wisdom is not about thinking less of ourselves, but rather thinking less about ourselves and more about others. As Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This powerful quote emphasizes that humility is a crucial part of growth. It involves acknowledging that there is always something to learn, and it is an acceptance that we do not hold all the answers. This mindset opens the door to continuous learning, personal development, and the deepening of wisdom. So, how do we cultivate humility? First, we must embrace the fact that we don't know everything. This is often one of the hardest lessons to learn, especially in a world that pressures us to appear knowledgeable or expert in everything. But recognizing and admitting our limitations does not make us weak. Rather, it makes us more approachable and open to learning. It also invites new opportunities for personal growth. Another way to nurture humility is by listening more than we speak. Giving others the opportunity to share their experiences and insights without interrupting or imposing our own perspectives is a powerful practice. True listening comes with the intention to understand, not merely to respond. This kind of deep listening demonstrates respect and consideration for others, which is an essential aspect of humility. Humility also manifests in how we treat others, regardless of their status or position. Every person we encounter has a unique story and valuable experiences to offer. When we treat everyone with equal respect and dignity, it shows that we appreciate people for who they are, not for what they can do for us. This attitude fosters a sense of equality and understanding, making it incredibly attractive because it conveys genuine appreciation for others. It is also important to learn from our mistakes. Nobody is perfect, and everyone makes mistakes, but how we respond to them makes all the difference. Instead of defending ourselves or making excuses, practicing humility means admitting when we are wrong and showing a willingness to learn and improve. This ability to be vulnerable and honest about our failures reflects great strength, not weakness. When we consistently practice humility, we become more approachable and authentic. People feel comfortable around us because they don't have to worry about impressing or competing with us. Humility creates a space of acceptance and understanding, which in turn makes us more relatable and trustworthy. It is essential to remember that humility is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it signifies true strength and self-assurance. Humility forms the foundation of a life rich in meaningful relationships and personal growth. Moving on, we come to patience, which is another virtue that, although often underestimated, has a profound effect on how we are perceived by others and how we navigate our daily lives. Seneca, a renowned Stoic philosopher, said, "Time reveals the truth." This timeless piece of wisdom reminds us that good things often take time, and the clarity and truth we seek are typically unveiled through patience and perseverance. Patience is the ability to wait calmly without frustration, accepting that things take time and remaining composed during that waiting period. To cultivate patience, the first step is to shift our perspective on time and expectations. We live in an era of instant gratification where everything seems to be at our fingertips. However, the most valuable things in life usually require time, effort, and careful consideration. Acknowledging this reality is the first step in developing patience. Another effective way to practice patience is through mindfulness and meditation. These practices help us remain present in the moment and resist the urge to rush ahead toward the future. When we feel impatience creeping in, taking a moment to breathe deeply and focus on the present can help center our minds. Regular meditation can train us to be more patient and less reactive to the stresses of life. Furthermore, we can practice patience in our daily lives by engaging in simple acts such as waiting in line without reaching for our phones, listening intently to someone without interrupting, or completing a task without rushing. These small acts of patience may seem insignificant, but over time they accumulate and strengthen our ability to remain patient in larger, more important situations. It is essential to remember that patience is not just about waiting, it is about how we wait. Maintaining a positive attitude and staying calm during moments of waiting demonstrates maturity, self-control, and inner strength. People are naturally attracted to those who can handle waiting with grace and calmness because it indicates confidence in the process and trust in the timing of life. When we embody patience, we project an image of someone who is balanced, confident, and in control of themselves. Have you ever found yourself wrapped up in the comfort of your blankets, locked in a battle with the alarm clock? Even the great Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius struggled with this same dilemma. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in ancient history, wrestled with laziness each morning, just like we do. But he had a secret. In this episode, we're going to uncover the age-old strategies of the Stoics that awaken your sleeping motivation. Discover how these ancient thinkers transform their daily struggles into fuel for greatness. Prepare for a journey through time where we'll uncover how to rise each morning, or rather each day, with renewed drive to pursue our goals and live a life full of purpose and meaning. If you haven't already subscribed, be sure to do so and leave your thoughts in the comments. That small gesture goes a long way in supporting me. Now, Let's begin. Let's start with Marcus Aurelius. Every morning, and in every moment, lies a new opportunity, something precious we must not waste. Often we convince ourselves that we don't have enough time, but the real issue is usually our lack of will to use time well. Marcus Aurelius, known as the philosopher emperor of Rome, embodied Stoic principles in action. Unlike emperors before him, Tiberius, who escaped to remote islands, or Nero, who became absorbed in the arts, Marcus fully embraced his role both as a ruler and a human being. In his famous writings, Meditations, Marcus shares timeless wisdom. He writes about dawn, about those moments when it's hardest to rise from bed. He tells himself, "I must get up to do the work of a human being. Why should I complain if I'm about to do what I was born to do, fulfill the tasks for which I was brought into the world?" This passage offers a glimpse into a man engaged in deep internal dialogue, one who is committed to his purpose not out of obligation, but from a profound understanding of his place in the world. Marcus continues, questioning himself. Or was I created to huddle under the blankets and stay warm? He acknowledges the allure of comfort, but quickly rejects it. He challenges the idea that comfort should dominate our actions. But it feels good here. Were you born to feel good, or to do things and experience life? In these lines, Marcus Aurelius pushes us to reflect on the greater purpose of our lives. He reminds us that we are part of a larger system, an active part of the grand order of the universe. Look at the plants, the birds, the ants, the spiders, and the bees. They all fulfill their purpose, organizing the world around them in the best way they know how. And yet, we often hesitate to do our work as human beings. Why do we resist doing what our very nature requires? This is more than just a philosophical musing. It's a powerful call to action. It reminds us that our human nature isn't centered on the pursuit of comfort, but on fulfilling our unique purpose in the world. Still, it's crucial to understand that Stoic philosophy, while rooted in duty and discipline, doesn't dismiss the value of comfort and rest in a balanced life. Marcus Aurelius isn't suggesting that we should deprive ourselves of all well-being. Instead, he warns against becoming enslaved by it. True rest and reasonable comfort are essential to our physical and mental well-being. They allow us to recharge and return to our responsibilities with clarity and strength. What Marcus Aurelius teaches us transcends the idea of mere morning motivation. He reveals that true fulfillment comes when our actions are in harmony with our essential nature as rational and social beings. It's not just about checking tasks off a list, but about living in alignment with our higher values and contributing to the greater good. When we face resistance from within, when we're tempted to delay or procrastinate, we should return to Marcus Aurelius's reflection. Ask yourself, am I living in accordance with my nature? Am I doing my part to contribute meaningfully to the world around me? In those questions, and in the honest answers we give ourselves, we find our real purpose and our deepest satisfaction. Time waits for no one. Each day presents a new chance to embrace our human nature and make a difference, no matter how small it may seem. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, we were not made for idle comfort, but for conscious, deliberate action. Let's rise each day with the resolve of Marcus Aurelius, ready to fulfill our role on the grand stage of life. When it comes to motivation, especially in the face of difficulty, it's essential to remember that our perception plays a major role in shaping our inner strength. Think of learning a new skill. At first, it can feel overwhelming, perhaps even impossible. But those who are dedicated understand that mastery isn't achieved all at once. It requires consistent practice, even if the progress is slow. Every moment of study, every training session, no matter how small, draws us closer to success. It's through this persistence and devotion to purpose that we unlock the true source of our motivation. Progress does not only come from moments of high excitement, but from the capacity to stay motivated when challenges arise. It's important to understand that lasting motivation is not dependent on external circumstances, but rather on our internal mindset. True strength lies in maintaining our motivation, even when things get tough. We often face difficulties, and rather than being discouraged by these challenges, we should see them as opportunities for growth and learning. When embarking on any significant endeavor, whether intellectual, creative, or personal, it's crucial to recognize that motivation is not a constant force. The key to enduring motivation is to cultivate an internal drive based on solid principles, not fleeting emotions. Stoicism teaches us that true motivation isn't solely about achieving goals, but about growing stronger and more balanced through the process. Each challenge we encounter, faced with determination, and each obstacle we overcome with persistence, strengthens our capacity to stay motivated. So, when you feel discouraged, remember the words of Marcus Aurelius: "You have power over your mind, not over external events." By recognizing and accepting this, we can tap into the inner strength that Stoic principles help us build. This inner strength becomes the true source of lasting motivation and the path toward achieving great things. When it comes to pursuing excellence and personal fulfillment, many of us wonder how we can maintain the momentum necessary to achieve our goals. Stoic philosophy, with its emphasis on virtue and discipline, offers valuable guidance in this regard. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us to reflect each morning on the nature of people we might encounter that day, those who are ungrateful, dishonest, or grumpy. This reflection is not meant to breed pessimism, but serves as a reminder to prepare ourselves for the challenges ahead, regardless of our mood at the moment. Take the example of an athlete who commits to daily training. He doesn't wait for the perfect moment of motivation or inspiration to begin. Instead, he simply gets up, puts on his gear, and heads to the gym. The act of starting, putting on his sneakers and getting into the car, kickstarts a process that will lead him to fulfill his daily training goals. Epictetus teaches us that, in life, we must first determine what we want to be and then do what we must to get there. This resonates with the Stoic belief that our actions should align with our highest goals, not with momentary whims. By creating a consistent routine, we build a structure that guides us toward our ideals, even when motivation fluctuates. Stoics like Epictetus emphasize the importance of self-sufficiency and self-discipline, teaching that true freedom is not found in controlling external circumstances, but in mastering ourselves. Through positive habits and a well-structured routine, we regain control over our actions and, by extension, over our destiny. Seneca, in his letters, warns that without a clear purpose in life, one cannot expect to have a productive day. This underscores the importance of knowing exactly what we want to accomplish and structuring our daily activities to achieve those objectives. When we know what needs to be done and have a plan in place, we reduce the need to rely on fleeting feelings of motivation. Imagine a writer who commits to writing for 2 hours every morning, regardless of how they feel. Some days, the words may flow easily. Other days, each sentence may be a struggle. However, by sticking to their routine, the writer ensures consistent progress, overcoming resistance, and cultivating their skill day after day. In essence, Stoic philosophy teaches us that true virtue doesn't lie in sporadic grand gestures of willpower, but in the consistent application of our actions. By embracing discipline and routine, we not only increase our productivity, but also build inner strength that supports us in the face of any challenge. Instead of chasing after motivation as a temporary state, we should focus on developing systems and habits that guide us toward our goals automatically. As Marcus Aurelius wisely advised, action is not something occasional, but a constant habit. It is through consistent practice and adherence to solid principles that we can transform not only our days, but our lives. The difficulty in staying motivated often arises when we lose ourselves in a maze of tasks and obligations that, although they may seem important, lack true meaning. The Stoic philosophers recognized this dilemma long ago, understanding that not all tasks contribute to our higher purpose. The Stoic philosophers recognized a dilemma that many of us still face today. They believed that true happiness could be found in virtue alone, and that our energies should be focused on what truly contributes to our moral excellence. Applying this principle to the pursuit of motivation, we can deduce that our lack of enthusiasm often doesn't stem from the tasks themselves, but from a misguided perception of their importance. For example, a professional might spend hours answering non-urgent emails or attending unproductive meetings while procrastinating on an essential project for their career. At the end of the day, they feel exhausted and demotivated. Why? Because, on some level, they know that they have squandered their time and energy on tasks that do not truly matter. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, warns us that the issue is not that we have too little time, but that we waste so much of it. This observation is particularly relevant in our age, where constant distractions pull us in many directions. To cultivate lasting motivation, we must learn to distinguish between what is essential and what is merely superfluous. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, provides a simple yet powerful tool for making this distinction. He asks us to consider whether an activity is necessary, which serves as a filter for our daily actions, allowing us to focus on what truly matters. By regularly asking ourselves this question, we not only eliminate the unnecessary, but also strengthen our commitment to what is vital. However, it is important to recognize that motivation is not an inexhaustible resource. Just as a wise general doesn't spread his troops thin by fighting unnecessary battles, we must preserve our motivational energy for the challenges that truly matter. By doing this, we not only improve our chances of success, but also discover a deeper sense of meaning in our actions. In essence, Stoic philosophy teaches that true motivation does not arise from external stimuli or temporary rewards. It comes from an internal alignment with our deeper values and greater purposes. By freeing ourselves from unfounded social expectations and trivial distractions, we create the space for authentic motivation to grow. Therefore, next time you feel unmotivated, pause and reflect. Does this task genuinely contribute to my personal growth or well-being? If the answer is no, have the courage to eliminate it or delegate it, and focus your energy on what truly matters. In doing so, you will uncover a constant source of motivation and purpose. Many of us face a silent battle within ourselves each morning. On one side, is the desire to remain in the comfort of our bed, and on the other is the call of duty and virtue. This internal conflict is not new. The Stoics recognized it long ago and offered us valuable insights on how to face it. Epictetus, in his discourses, reminds us that we must first decide what kind of person we want to be and then act accordingly. This idea resonates with the Stoic belief that our actions, particularly in the morning, set the tone for the rest of the day, and by extension, for our lives. Seneca, in his letters, suggests that we should organize our lives as if we were preparing for a banquet, ensuring that everything is in its place but not excessive. The founder of Stoicism, Zeno, taught that virtue alone is sufficient for happiness. Applying this principle to our daily routine, we can see that getting up on time, even when we don't feel like it, is an act of virtue that contributes to our overall well-being. For example, when the alarm rings, instead of giving in to the impulse to hit snooze, take a moment to breathe deeply and ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? And what actions will bring me closer to that ideal? This brief reflection can provide the motivation needed to rise from bed with purpose and determination. The act of waking up consciously and disciplined is not just about productivity. It is an act of alignment with our rational nature and with the universal logos, which are central tenets of Stoicism. By overcoming the inertia of the morning, we practice self-control and cultivate the inner strength required to face the day's challenges. Each morning presents a new opportunity to practice virtue. The true test of our philosophy is not in our words, but in our daily actions, starting from the moment we open our eyes. As Epictetus would say, do not merely explain your philosophy, incorporate it. So when the alarm rings, do not see it as an enemy, but as a call to excellence. Rise not only from your bed, but also from mediocrity. The day ahead is your training ground for wisdom and virtue. Time is often considered a scarce resource, something we frequently claim to lack. However, the true issue lies not in the absence of time, but in the way we prioritize and manage it. There are countless examples of individuals who, despite being busy, still manage to find time for the things that matter most. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, found time to read despite his immense responsibilities as emperor, and Epictetus continued his studies even while enslaved. If they were able to do this, so can we. Seneca teaches us that the real obstacle to accomplishing what we want is not the shortage of time, but rather the way we squander it. Time itself is not inherently scarce. It is our mismanagement of it that causes the problem. By allowing ourselves to become distracted by trivial activities, we end up sacrificing moments that could otherwise be enriching. The way we manage our time is a matter of choice and discipline. If something is important to you, like reading, then it should become a priority, rather than allowing distractions to take precedence. Organizing your day and carving out moments for what truly matters is key. For example, setting aside an hour before bed to read could be a simple yet effective way to invest in your personal and intellectual growth. The issue is not that time is limited, but rather that we need to be more mindful of how we spend it. Time is an incredibly valuable resource, and as Marcus Aurelius wisely pointed out, life is short, but it is long enough to live well and dedicate ourselves to what truly holds value. Therefore, we should view time as our ally, not as our enemy, and prioritize activities that promote our development and well-being. Writing serves as a powerful tool for self-reflection, one that the Stoics valued greatly. Marcus Aurelius, for example, wrote extensively about the importance of looking within, as he believed that true goodness and virtue come from within ourselves. This idea is foundational in Stoic philosophy, and it encourages us to turn our focus inward rather than seeking external validation or projecting our frustrations onto others. Writing provides us with a safe space for introspection, allowing us to observe our thoughts with clarity and calmness. By putting our thoughts on paper, we gain distance from them, which enables us to analyze them more thoughtfully. Seneca frequently engaged in reflective writing, using it as a means to understand and master his passions. Similarly, we can use writing to gain control over our thoughts by reviewing them as a general might inspect his troops. Which thoughts contribute to our highest good, and which are mere distractions or fears? Writing not only allows us to vent, but also helps us derive valuable lessons from our experiences. For example, at the end of each day, you might write about a challenge you faced and explore how Stoic principles could have been applied to handle the situation in a more virtuous way. Like the notebooks of Leonardo da Vinci, which were filled with ideas and observations that later led to masterpieces, our personal journals can become the foundation for a life well lived. Every entry is a step toward building our character. The practice of reflective writing is not just an exercise in introspection, it is an act of Stoic courage. By confronting our thoughts on paper, we demonstrate honesty with ourselves. It is a continuous process of refinement, helping us learn to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. In a world filled with distractions and external opinions, writing becomes a refuge, a personal space where we can examine our beliefs and convictions. By aligning our thoughts with the Stoic values of virtue, reason, and harmony with nature, we gradually shape a more intentional and meaningful life. As Seneca said, the act of writing helps us learn, with every word contributing to our wisdom, serenity, and self-knowledge. According to Stoic principles, maintaining physical discipline is crucial so that the body does not interfere with the clarity of the mind. As Seneca explains, we must treat the body with rigor so that it remains obedient to the mind. The goal is to ensure that the body does not become an obstacle to our mental clarity and emotional resilience. This requires regular physical exercise and maintaining a healthy routine, even engaging in challenging activities, to ensure that the body remains under control. By doing so, we cultivate an inner strength and resilience that are vital when facing pressure or making important decisions. Treating the body with discipline strengthens both the body and the mind, enabling us to better handle the challenges life presents. Physical training and personal discipline are essential for developing a mind that remains steady and focused, especially in situations of high pressure and when critical decisions must be made. Engaging consistently in such efforts is not just about physical conditioning. It is a preparation that ensures the body is ready to face challenges, allowing the mind to maintain control and clarity when swift, deliberate action is necessary. Consider the example of a dedicated athlete preparing for an important competition. Every training session becomes a lesson in self-discipline and inner resolve, conditioning the body to endure intense physical exertion. Through this process, the athlete not only enhances physical performance, but also fortifies mental strength, ensuring that during decisive moments they can respond with accuracy and self-assurance. Thus, caring for the body is more than a matter of health. It is a vital practice for mental stability and peak performance. It strengthens the connection between physical discipline and mental resilience, allowing one to navigate life's challenges with poise and determination. Turning inward, we find another powerful Stoic practice: meditation on mortality, known as memento mori. This reflection on death is not meant to instill fear, but rather to cultivate a deeper appreciation for life. Stoic wisdom urges us to confront the reality of death not as a far-off event, but as something that unfolds with each passing minute. Time is fleeting, and every moment that slips by is a moment we no longer have. Memento mori, or remember death, serves as a potent reminder of life's impermanence. It emphasizes that our time is finite, and once gone, it cannot be reclaimed. With this perspective, we are encouraged to approach each action and decision with purpose and presence. Knowing that our days are numbered inspires us to live more fully and to devote ourselves wholeheartedly to what truly matters. For instance, when we pour our complete attention and effort into a task, we are acknowledging that we are making meaningful use of our limited time. The awareness of life's brevity and unpredictability pushes us to avoid wasting our energy on the trivial or superficial. Rather than being a grim thought, memento mori becomes a call to live more intentionally, with a sense of urgency and meaning, recognizing that each second holds value and is irreplaceable. Another cornerstone of Stoic living is to seek out motivation through the study of history's most virtuous individuals. True inspiration often arises from observing the lives and character of those who pursued greatness through the consistent practice of virtue. According to Stoic philosophy, looking to the lives of people who committed themselves to self-improvement and the cultivation of moral excellence can be a profound source of encouragement. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that there is nothing more uplifting than witnessing virtue in action. It reinforces the possibility within ourselves to cultivate the same qualities. To sustain our motivation, we benefit from examining the lives of remarkable figures, people who have stood out for their character, perseverance, and achievements. Their journeys illuminate what is attainable and demonstrate how challenges can be met with strength and integrity. Epictetus also teaches that we should direct our focus toward the virtues we admire most in others and consciously work to develop those same traits in ourselves. For example, reflecting on a mentor or a historical figure whom we deeply respect can help us extract lessons from both their triumphs and their failures. These reflections offer valuable insights into resilience, determination, and the steady pursuit of excellence. By staying focused on such examples, we nurture our own inner drive and maintain clarity about our personal goals. The journey toward excellence is not without its trials, but it is also rich with rewards for those who persist. Motivation, then, lies in identifying and drawing strength from those who embody the principles we wish to live by, those who have walked the path of mastery and virtue before us. By contemplating their lives, we find guiding lights to shape our own. If you've read this far, write the word motivation in the comments to let us know you made it to the end. Now, I invite you to explore 2 more videos on the screen that will continue to expand your understanding and growth. If this video offered you something valuable, consider giving it a like and subscribing to our channel. Thank you once again, and see you in the next video. Welcome to this new video, where we dive deep into an ancient philosophy brimming with timeless wisdom, one that can help you rise above life's challenges and discover lasting inner peace. Today, we're uncovering 9 Stoic principles that have the power to help you think clearly, act wisely, and ultimately outsmart the chaos around you. In a world overwhelmed by constant stress and pressure, how can you stay grounded, focused, and strong? These Stoic keys will serve as your compass. Stick with us to the very end, because each principle we share is an essential piece in unlocking a life of serenity, resilience, and purpose. And if this video resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and drop a comment saying, "Keep it up." Now, let's dive in. Let's begin with our first insight. Don't talk about your challenges. This is the Stoic pathway to turning struggles into stepping stones. Greetings, fellow Stoic seekers. Today, we're reflecting on a powerful Stoic mindset that can shift the way you navigate difficulties in life. The principle is simple but profound. Don't talk about your challenges. At first glance, you might think, but isn't it good to vent sometimes? Don't I need to express my emotions to heal? And while there's value in healthy expression, the Stoics offer another perspective, one that revolves around resilience, self-mastery, and focusing on what's within our control. To the Stoics, challenges were inevitable. Life would always present trials, whether it's minor irritations or life-altering hardships. What truly mattered, they taught, was how we responded. Rather than fixating on our problems or giving them more power through constant talk, we are better served by responding with calm resolve and purposeful action. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, every obstacle can become a stepping stone, if we choose to see it that way. This leads us to the idea of strength in silence. What does this look like in real life? It means resisting the urge to dwell on or constantly verbalize our problems. Instead, we focus on the solutions. We build inner fortitude. Think of a challenging work project. Talking about how hard it is won't make it any easier. It might even increase your sense of overwhelm. But if you quietly break it down into smaller, manageable steps, set clear goals, and move forward with steady action, you not only make real progress, but also build grit and confidence along the way. Perspective, another Stoic pillar, also plays a vital role. When we're immersed in difficulty, it's easy to lose our sense of proportion. But if we pause and take a step back, often we can reframe our situation or recognize that things aren't as dire as they seem. Stuck in traffic and feeling tense? Instead of complaining, try using that time to listen to something uplifting. Practice a few moments of mindfulness, or simply enjoy a moment of stillness. You might arrive at your destination feeling more grounded and centered, even if the journey wasn't ideal. So here's your Stoic challenge. The next time you face adversity, try a different path. Resist the instinct to vent or complain. Breathe deeply. Focus on your sphere of control and take decisive action. Cultivate that quiet strength that speaks louder than words. True power isn't found in the absence of struggle. It's found in your ability to meet that struggle with courage, self-command, and unwavering composure. Embrace this mindset, and not only will you face challenges more effectively, but you'll also deepen your sense of peace and resilience from within. Now, let's explore our second lesson. Don't reveal your secrets. This is the Stoic art of discretion. Welcome back, fellow seekers of wisdom. In this next powerful Stoic teaching, we explore a concept that can help you move through life with greater grace and clarity. The value of keeping your secrets. But let's clarify, This isn't about becoming cold or isolated, nor does it mean avoiding vulnerability altogether. Rather, it's about understanding the power of selective sharing and the wisdom that comes from protecting your inner world. The Stoics regarded our inner life, our thoughts, dreams, fears, and intentions as sacred. They understood that revealing these deeply personal elements to the wrong people could leave us vulnerable and even harmed. The philosopher Seneca once said, "If you want to keep a secret, keep it to yourself." He understood the harsh truth that not everyone will honor your truth with kindness or respect, and often the most painful wounds are inflicted by those closest to us. Think of your secrets as a precious gem, something beautiful and rare that deserves careful guardianship. By protecting what's most intimate to you, you build an inner sanctuary, a safe place within where you can think, feel, and be without fear of judgment or betrayal. This doesn't mean closing yourself off completely, but it does mean being intentional about who you trust with your most vulnerable thoughts. It's about fostering relationships built on true trust and mutual respect. There's also a deeper discipline at play here: the development of self-control. In a culture that rewards oversharing and instant exposure, learning to hold things back, to stay quiet until the right moment, is a profound strength. Imagine you're working on a personal project that excites you. Sharing your idea too soon might invite premature criticism, jealousy, or distractions. But by keeping your plans close until they're ready to be revealed, you preserve your clarity, energy, and creative momentum. So here's your Stoic challenge. Practice the art of discretion. Be thoughtful about what you share, when you share it, and with whom. Protect your inner landscape. Exercise your ability to wait, to hold, and to decide wisely. This isn't about being secretive. It's about honoring your own boundaries, valuing your own emotional space, and knowing who's truly earned the right to hear your heart. Master this, and you'll not only protect yourself from needless harm, you'll also gain a powerful sense of self-trust, peace, and personal sovereignty. Let's move forward to Lesson 3. Don't talk about your achievements. Embrace the quiet power of humility. Greetings once again, seekers of Stoic strength. This time, we're talking about success, specifically the importance of not boasting about it. Now you might wonder, shouldn't I celebrate my wins and share my joy with others? Of course, acknowledging your progress and feeling proud of your efforts is important, but the Stoic approach to achievement teaches us a more profound path, one of humility, internal satisfaction, and authentic character. The Stoics taught that real success doesn't come from accolades or recognition. It arises from within. They warned that openly bragging about your wins can lead to inflated ego, complacency, and sometimes envy or backlash from others. Epictetus wisely advised, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." In other words, let your life be the message. Let your consistency, effort, and service speak louder than any claim you could make. Picture a gardener who spent years nurturing a vibrant landscape. The beauty of the flowers, the richness of the soil, the harmony of the ecosystem. These speak volumes about the gardener's patience and skill. They don't need to shout their success. Their work tells the story. Similarly, when you dedicate yourself to growth and purpose, others will naturally take notice, even if you never say a word. In our modern world, especially with social media, it's tempting to showcase every milestone and crave the approval of others. But the Stoics would remind us that this pursuit of external validation is fleeting and fragile. True confidence comes from knowing your worth, regardless of who's watching. When you turn your focus inward, on learning, evolving, and doing your best, you'll develop a sense of fulfillment that no amount of likes or comments can provide. Here's your Stoic challenge. The next time you accomplish something meaningful, resist the urge to announce it for validation. Instead, pause. Reflect on the effort it took. Appreciate your journey, and then quietly move forward, ready to keep building, keep growing. Let your success be the result of your actions, not your announcements. In doing so, you'll cultivate humility, authenticity, and a lasting sense of pride that doesn't rely on applause. By living this way, without constantly talking about your struggles, your secrets, or your achievements, you embody the quiet, grounded strength of a true Stoic. And that, my friends, is a strength the world cannot shake. Take a moment to genuinely appreciate the effort you've invested and recognize how far you've come. Then, with quiet confidence, move forward to embrace your next challenge. Let your actions be the clearest and most powerful message you send. Always remember, real success isn't measured by applause or recognition. It lies in living a life rooted in purpose, honesty, and a constant desire to grow. When you embrace the Stoic value of humility, you don't just find deeper fulfillment, you also become a source of inspiration for others through your quiet resilience and steadfast commitment. Lesson 4. The strength in strategic silence. Why your next move should stay a mystery. Hey there, fellow Stoic in the making. Today, we're stepping into the world of strategy, patience, and the power of subtlety. We're exploring the Stoic idea of keeping your next move to yourself. Think of it like being a grandmaster in chess. You're making calculated moves without revealing your hand, while others are left guessing what you'll do next. Now, you might be wondering, but shouldn't I talk about my plans and dreams with people? Won't that help me stay on track and gather support? That's a valid thought. And yes, there are moments when sharing can be useful, but the Stoics emphasize that sometimes silence is the most powerful move. Keeping your plans close protects them and you. The Stoic view on planning for the future. The Stoics constantly reminded themselves to concentrate only on what they could control and to let go of what they couldn't. They recognized the unpredictable nature of the future and the potential pitfalls of speaking too soon about one's ambitions. Epictetus offered timeless advice when he said, "First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Their philosophy leaned heavily on action rather than empty promises. Instead of talking about what you're going to do, just go out and do it. Why holding back can be powerful. There are solid reasons why the Stoics recommended keeping your future moves private. One reason is it helps you stay focused. When you tell others what you're planning, their reactions, whether supportive, doubtful, or overly inquisitive, can throw you off balance and shift your focus. By keeping your intentions private, you stay sharply aligned with your purpose. Another reason is to avoid what's known as premature gratification. Talking about your goals can sometimes trick your mind into feeling like you've already accomplished something. This false sense of achievement can lead to complacency and reduced drive. Staying quiet helps you remain hungry for real progress. And then there's the value of developing independence. Relying too much on others' encouragement or approval can stall your growth. By keeping your dreams to yourself, you strengthen your ability to trust your instincts, make decisions confidently, and take full responsibility for your journey. Living the lesson. Silence in action. Let's bring this concept into everyday life. Imagine you're building a side business you hope to one day turn into your main source of income. If you start talking about it too soon, even well-meaning people might offer discouraging opinions or express envy. Keeping your project low-key allows you to build without distractions and stay rooted in your vision. Or say you're preparing for a marathon. Telling everyone might create pressure to meet expectations even when you're not quite ready. But if you quietly train, focusing on your personal progress, you avoid unnecessary stress and remain centered on your goal. The Stoic challenge. Use silence as strategy. Here's your challenge. Next time you feel tempted to share your dreams or plans, pause. Consider the Stoic approach. Ask yourself, will speaking about this help me move forward, or will it just invite distraction? Will sharing this empower me, or make me dependent on outside validation? Choosing silence doesn't mean being secretive or dishonest. It means being wise, intentional, and grounded. It's about giving your goals space to grow, away from noise and judgment. If you're gaining something from this message, be sure to subscribe, give a thumbs up, and drop "Keep it up" in the comments. Lesson 5. Refrain from gossip. The Stoic way to a drama-free life. All right, Stoic squad. Let's explore a lesson that calls for dignity and emotional discipline. Avoid talking about other people. In our world where gossip floods social media and headlines, it can seem like it's just part of everyday life. But the Stoics teach a different way. They believed real wisdom and peace come not from scrutinizing others, but from refining our own character and choices. The Stoic perspective on gossip. The Stoic path urges us to spend our energy on personal growth and contributing meaningfully to the world. Gossip doesn't build, it destroys. It spreads falsehoods, tarnishes reputations, and fosters division. As the great Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius put it, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. Stoics focused on living with honor, not on pointing out others' flaws. Focus inward instead of outward. Think about it. Every moment you spend speaking about someone else's behavior is a moment you're not using to improve your own life. It's like getting caught up in someone else's drama instead of living your own extraordinary story. Redirect that attention inward. Work on your thoughts, your habits, your purpose. By doing that, you become a source of light rather than a spreader of shadows. Creating a better atmosphere around you. The Stoics also knew that our words and actions ripple outward. When we choose not to participate in gossip, we contribute to a more supportive and respectful environment. Picture a workplace or community where everyone is focused on their own goals and building each other up instead of tearing each other down. That kind of space breeds growth, joy, and productivity. The Stoic challenge: be above the drama. Next time you're tempted to join in on gossip or negative talk, pause, step back, choose the higher path, commit to your own evolution, practice empathy, be someone who elevates rather than criticizes. True strength doesn't come from dragging others down, it comes from rising above and showing the way. When you focus on your own journey and resist the pull of negativity, you not only cultivate peace for yourself, but also inspire others to do the same. Lesson 6. Keep your good deeds quiet. The humble power of silent kindness. Hey there, Stoic seekers. Let's unpack a powerful idea for today. Resist the urge to talk about your good deeds. You might be thinking, but if I share my good actions, can't that encourage others? Or, isn't it okay to feel proud when I help someone? And yes, there's merit in those thoughts. But the Stoics offer a deeper lens, one that values humility, inner drive, and authentic virtue. What the Stoics teach about doing good. The Stoics believed that true virtue means doing the right thing simply because it's right, not for praise or recognition. They warned that bragging about good actions can turn into arrogance and diminish the value of the deed itself. Seneca captured this perfectly when he said, "The reward for a good deed is to have done it." The very act of doing good is its own reward. You don't need a pat on the back to validate it. The quiet beauty of kindness without words. Think of a serene stream winding through a forest, silently nourishing every living thing it touches. It doesn't announce its presence, yet its gentle current sustains life all around it. That's the spirit of unspoken kindness. When you act out of compassion without expecting recognition, your actions speak louder than any declaration ever could. People will see the goodness in you, not because you told them, but because they felt it. Beware the trap of chasing applause. In today's digital age, it's so easy to seek validation. We post about our generosity, our volunteer work, or our moments of kindness, hoping for likes and approval. But the Stoics remind us that virtue should be rooted in internal values, not external praise. When you focus on doing good purely for its own sake, you develop a deeper sense of compassion and humility. The reward becomes the act itself, not the attention it brings. The Stoic challenge: let your goodness speak through actions. Here's your challenge. The next time you do something meaningful for someone, resist the urge to tell the world. Instead, cherish that quiet joy that comes from knowing you made a difference. Let your actions become your message, your unspoken offering to a better world. Remember, real virtue doesn't seek the spotlight. It thrives in silence, integrity, and heartfelt service. When you embrace this Stoic view of humility, you don't just touch lives, you also discover a deeper, richer sense of inner peace and purpose. Lesson 7. The Stoic Shield. Guarding your weaknesses, building inner strength. Greetings, Stoic warriors. Lesson 7 explores a powerful principle in the pursuit of self-preservation and personal growth: the importance of not revealing your weaknesses. While modern society often encourages openness and emotional vulnerability, the Stoics offer a contrasting perspective rooted in strategic silence, deep self-awareness, and inner resilience. They understood that while recognizing our flaws is essential for growth, openly disclosing our vulnerabilities can make us targets for manipulation or unintended harm. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said that a person who reveals their weaknesses is like a city without defensive walls, unprotected and exposed. To understand this better, it's helpful to distinguish between flaws and weaknesses. Flaws are imperfections in our character, mistakes, bad habits, or tendencies that we can acknowledge and improve upon. Identifying our flaws is vital for self-betterment. Weaknesses, on the other hand, are the tender spots in our psyche, our emotional triggers and vulnerabilities. These are the areas others might exploit, whether knowingly or not, leading us to act impulsively or emotionally. The Stoics believed that real strength is not demonstrated by disclosing our struggles, but by facing them quietly and privately. By keeping our weaknesses to ourselves, we preserve our integrity and shield ourselves from potential exploitation. Think of a person who becomes easily overwhelmed by stress. If they speak of this frequently, others might intentionally or unintentionally add to their burdens. However, if that person silently works to develop coping strategies and emotional resilience, they gain greater control over stressful situations and exude a quiet, unshakable strength. Here's the Stoic invitation. Rather than focusing on your weaknesses or discussing them openly, use your energy to transform them. Allow silence to become your tool for growth. Reflect inwardly, recognize your vulnerabilities, and develop ways to fortify those areas. Let your progress be evident, not through words, but through your strength of action. In this way, you cultivate authentic confidence and resilience, qualities that will serve you well when life tests you. Guarding your weaknesses is not a sign of fear, but a mark of wisdom and strength. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up, and drop a "keep it up" in the comments below. Lesson 8. The Unspoken Dream. Nurturing your aspirations in the quiet of your heart. Welcome, dreamers and visionaries. In this lesson, we dive into the deeply personal realm of dreams and aspirations, but with a Stoic perspective. This time, we explore why it can be powerful to keep your most cherished dreams private, nurturing them quietly within the sanctuary of your heart. You might ask, shouldn't sharing dreams with others help with motivation and accountability? Absolutely, there is value in confiding in trusted allies. However, the Stoics also believed in the quiet power of restraint. They taught that dreams grow best in silence, sheltered from premature exposure and the turbulence of external opinion. Central to Stoic philosophy is the focus on controlling what lies within and accepting what does not. Dreams are beautiful and inspiring, yet they are also fragile. Sharing them too early or with the wrong people can invite doubt, skepticism, or even ridicule. Seneca reminded us that the greatest obstacle to living is waiting for tomorrow while neglecting today. The Stoics emphasized acting in the present, moving steadily toward goals without getting swept up in fantasy or future promises. So why is it wise to keep your dreams to yourself? First, doing so protects your inner vulnerability. Dreams often intertwine with our deepest sense of identity. Revealing them too soon can leave us feeling exposed, especially if others respond with negativity. By keeping your dreams private, you create a nurturing space where they can evolve, untainted by external judgment. Second, it maintains intrinsic motivation. The Stoics believed that genuine drive comes from within, not from outside approval. Once you share your dream, there's a risk that you'll become more invested in the reactions of others than in the dream itself. Guarding it preserves your connection to your own passion and keeps your fire burning brightly from within. Third, it cultivates patience and resilience. Big dreams don't manifest overnight. They require perseverance and time. Sharing them too early may set unrealistic expectations and lead to disillusionment if progress is slow. By keeping them close, you stay grounded, able to celebrate small wins and push through obstacles with enduring strength. Let's take this philosophy into the real world. Imagine you're quietly planning to start a non-profit organization to uplift underserved communities. Sharing that vision too soon might attract doubt or dismissive comments. But if you work silently, laying the foundation first, you protect your mission and remain focused on what truly matters. Or maybe you're an artist working tirelessly in private to hone your craft. Exposing your work prematurely could invite criticism that shakes your confidence. But by waiting until you're ready, you give your creativity the space it needs to blossom into something truly your own. So here's your Stoic challenge. When excitement about a dream fills your heart, pause before you share it. Ask yourself whether speaking about it will help bring it to life, or if it might cause distractions or a dependence on others' validation. Remember, holding your dreams in silence isn't about secrecy, it's about sacredness. It's about giving your aspirations room to breathe and trusting your own inner compass to guide you forward. Let your actions, not your words, reveal the depth of your dreams. Lesson 9. The Sanctuary of Solitude, Embracing the Quiet Strength Within. Welcome, solitude seekers. In this final lesson of the series, we explore the profound importance of solitude, a space the Stoics regarded as sacred and essential for personal strength and clarity. In a modern world obsessed with constant connection, solitude is often misinterpreted as loneliness or something to be avoided. But the Stoics saw it as a gift, an opportunity to connect more deeply with oneself and draw from an inner wellspring of peace. To the Stoics, solitude was not about retreating from life, but about engaging more fully with oneself. They believed that the quiet moments away from society's noise are where the soul finds its voice. It's in solitude that we can reflect on our values, examine our fears, and build unshakable self-reliance. Seneca once said, "Loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is the richness of self." In this light, solitude becomes a refuge, not from others, but into the richness of your own being. Why did the Stoics choose to keep their solitude private? First, it preserves the sanctity of your inner sanctuary. These moments of quiet reflection are intimate and powerful. Sharing them too freely can weaken their transformative potential and make you feel unnecessarily exposed. Keeping solitude sacred allows you to protect the mental and emotional clarity that it cultivates. Second, it helps avoid misinterpretation. Not everyone sees solitude for what it truly is. Some may confuse it with antisocial behavior or emotional withdrawal. By keeping your practices private, you avoid the judgments of those who don't understand the strength that solitude brings. Third, it nurtures self-reliance. In solitude, you become your own source of inspiration, comfort, and direction. You build an internal compass that doesn't depend on the opinions or presence of others. When these moments are shared too casually, it can create a reliance on validation that weakens the very independence solitude is meant to develop. Let's ground this in everyday life. Suppose you've built a daily meditation practice that centers and calms your mind. Telling others might invite questions, doubts, or even skepticism that pull you away from the peace you've built. By keeping it to yourself, you maintain its sacred power. Or maybe you take long, reflective walks through nature that spark creativity and inner balance. If shared too widely, these walks could become social events, disrupting the quiet solitude that gives them meaning. Keeping them private preserves their unique magic. So here's your final challenge. Honor your solitude. Make time for it. Treat it as a sacred space and protect it as you would something precious. Whether through meditation, writing, nature walks, or quiet contemplation, let solitude become a place where your soul can breathe. It's not isolation. It's communion with your truest self. As we wrap up this journey through the 9 Stoic keys to outsmarting the noise of the world, remember that wisdom doesn't come from applause or comparison. It arises from inner strength, unwavering self-awareness, and a life aligned with your deepest values. By living these Stoic truths, you'll find yourself equipped to face life with grace, power, and peace. Keep learning, keep growing, and above all, keep shining the quiet, powerful light of your Stoic soul. All right, let's get real. Ever notice how some people just love to test your boundaries? They interrupt, make passive-aggressive comments, or act like your time and feelings are optional, and we're supposed to just smile and let it slide? Not today. If you're done putting up with people who don't respect you, this video is for you. Today, I'm breaking down brutally honest, maybe even a little controversial, ways to handle disrespect without losing your cool and without sacrificing your self-respect. So buckle up, because by the end of this, you'll have every tool you need to show people exactly where the line is drawn. Let's dive in. 1. Embrace the silent stare. Let's start with one of my all-time favorite slightly savage techniques, the silent stare. Now, you might be thinking, really? Just staring? Yes, trust me on this. When someone's being openly rude or disrespectful, nothing throws them off more than a long, calm, completely unbothered stare. People who disrespect others are usually looking for a reaction. They want you to stammer, get flustered, maybe even snap back. They're looking to drag you into their drama, to make you question yourself or feel small. But when you just look at them, no words, no expressions, just steady eye contact, suddenly the power dynamic flips. Now I get it. This might sound a little passive-aggressive, but hear me out. There's something deeply unsettling about someone who doesn't give the reaction they were expecting. When you hold a steady, silent stare, you're saying without a word, "I'm not playing this game with you." It's a way of reclaiming control without even lifting a finger, and sometimes that silent stare is the clearest, most powerful no you'll ever say. Let me tell you about a time this technique worked like magic. I was in a group meeting where one guy kept talking over me, cutting me off like he was on a mission. You know the type, loud, overconfident, thinking everyone's there to listen to his wisdom. I tried interjecting. I tried being polite, but he wouldn't stop. So finally, I just looked at him. I leaned back in my chair, crossed my arms, and held his gaze. No blinking, no expression, just stared. For 5 solid seconds, I said nothing. You could feel the tension build, and the best part? Everyone else at the table started looking at him too, wondering what he'd do. You know what happened? He got uncomfortable, stumbled over his words, and suddenly looked anywhere but at me. He didn't interrupt me for the rest of the meeting. That silent stare did more than any words could have, and it didn't just stop his behavior in the moment. He actually started treating me with more respect after that, as if he'd finally realized I wasn't someone he could just bulldoze. Sometimes you have to show people who you are without saying a word. Let's dig a little deeper, because this is more than just a power move. When you embrace the silent stare, it's like a reminder, to them and to yourself, that you don't have to dance to someone else's tune. You don't owe anyone an emotional reaction, and you don't have to prove yourself to people who don't see your worth. This is about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. Too often, when someone is disrespectful, we feel an urge to defend ourselves, to make our case, or worse, to let it slide because we don't want to create a scene. But the silent stare, it's not about being aggressive. It's about showing that you're grounded, unbothered, and unapologetically in control of your own emotions. It's also about accountability. People who are used to disrespecting others often do it without even thinking. They've never been called out, never faced real consequences for treating others poorly. When you give them that silent, deadpan look, it's like you're holding up a mirror. Suddenly, they're left alone with their own behavior. You're not telling them they're wrong, you're showing them. And most people don't like to see themselves like that. That's why this works. I've noticed that the silent stare tactic does more than just get the other person to back off. It also strengthens your sense of self-worth. When you stand there silent and still, you're reminding yourself that their words or actions can't shake you. I used to be the type who'd nervously laugh off rude comments or try to explain myself when someone questioned my choices. But honestly, that just drained my energy and made me feel worse. Learning to just look at someone, to let that silence fill the room without backing down, was a game changer. It feels like a small act of defiance, a quiet but powerful declaration of self-respect. So if someone's being rude, pushing boundaries, or making you feel less than, try the silent stare. Just look at them. Let them feel the weight of your calm. You'll be surprised at how uncomfortable it makes them and how empowered it makes you feel. The silent stare says, "I respect myself too much to get dragged into your negativity," and that's a message worth sending. 2. Embrace silence as your answer. Here's a little secret weapon that's incredibly underrated. Silence. When someone disrespects you, one of the most powerful responses is no response at all. Now I know what you're thinking. Silence feels passive, almost like you're letting them get away with it, right? But here's the truth. Silence is far from passive. It's a choice. And sometimes it's the boldest, loudest answer you can give. When someone's throwing negativity at you, they're trying to pull you into their drama, to make you feel small or defensive. But when you don't engage, when you just let their words hang in the air without responding, it forces them to sit alone with their own behavior. And that silence, it's deafening. Now here's why this works so well. People who disrespect others usually expect a reaction. They're looking for a fight, a justification, or just some kind of validation for their own behavior. But silence says, "I'm not giving you my energy." By not engaging, you're keeping control of the conversation and letting them know, "I'm not here to entertain your disrespect." Sometimes the most powerful way to communicate is by not communicating. It's a quiet, subtle reminder that they're not worth your time or your words. I remember once being in a situation with someone who just couldn't resist making these little digs. You know the kind of person, hides their insults as jokes and tries to pass it off as harmless fun. So one day, he says something completely unnecessary about my work, clearly just to get a rise out of me. Normally, I would have tried to explain myself, or maybe even fired back a comment. But this time, I just looked at him, raised an eyebrow, and said absolutely nothing. I let his words hang in the air, letting him feel that awkward, silent pause. And you know what? He didn't know what to do. He looked at me, then looked down, mumbled something, and moved on. That moment was the last time he tried pulling that with me. It was like he realized that if I wasn't reacting, there was no power to be gained. That's the beauty of silence. It starves disrespect of the attention it craves. Here's the deeper message. When you choose silence, you're choosing yourself. You're saying, "I value my peace over your opinion of me." And that's not just empowering, it's revolutionary. So often, we feel pressured to respond, to explain ourselves, to defend our choices, or to prove our worth to people who frankly aren't interested in respecting us. But by embracing silence, you're refusing to play by their rules. You're taking a stand without lifting a finger. You're letting them know you're not worth my words. It's not just about controlling the situation, it's about reclaiming your energy. Silence is like a filter. It keeps your peace intact by blocking out the negativity that others try to project onto you. The moment you stop feeling the need to respond to every rude comment or passive-aggressive jab, you free yourself. You stop giving people access to your inner world, and you start living on your own terms. I'll be real with you. Learning to use silence wasn't easy for me. I used to think that if I didn't defend myself, I'd look weak or passive. But I started noticing something interesting. Every time I responded to people who disrespected me, I'd end up drained and frustrated. But when I held my tongue and let their comments pass by like white noise, I realized I felt lighter, stronger, and more in control. It was like I took back a piece of my power every time I chose silence over reaction. Here's my challenge to you. The next time someone disrespects you, just pause, take a deep breath, look them in the eye, and say nothing. Let your silence speak for itself. You might be surprised by how uncomfortable they get and how freeing it feels for you. Embrace silence as your answer, because sometimes saying nothing is the most powerful statement of all. All right, this one's going to hit home for a lot of us. Stop explaining your choices. Seriously. How many times have you made a decision for yourself only for someone to immediately start asking, why? Why did you do that? Why didn't you go to that event? Why'd you take that job? People seem to think they're entitled to an explanation for everything we do. And here's the honest truth. They're not. Your choices are your own, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live your life. It might sound controversial, but let's face it. If someone's questioning your choices, they're often not looking to understand. They're looking to judge. They're looking to poke holes, make you doubt yourself, or feel better about their own decisions by making you second-guess yours. You don't have to play along. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim your autonomy and show them that your life isn't up for debate. Let's dig a bit deeper into why people feel so entitled to an explanation in the first place. When people question your choices, it's often because your decision challenges their view of the world. Maybe you're taking a risk they're too scared to take, or maybe you're stepping out of the norm they find so comforting. Your independence or willingness to do things differently can make them uncomfortable, and asking you to explain is their way of trying to fit you back into their comfort zone. But here's the kicker. Just because they're uncomfortable doesn't mean you're responsible for reassuring them. Your life isn't a public service announcement. You don't have to justify your choices to anyone. I remember when I decided to switch careers, moving from a safe job to something I was actually passionate about. But that came with a lot more risk. The moment people found out, it was like I'd announced I was moving to Mars. I kept getting asked, why would you leave a stable job? And how are you going to make it work? At first I'd try to explain, talk about how I wanted something more fulfilling, about how I had a plan, but I quickly realized that no matter what I said, it never felt like enough. The more I explained, the more people questioned me, poking holes and making me feel like I needed to prove myself. Then one day, I decided to try something new. When someone asked, "But why would you leave that job?" I simply replied, "Because I wanted to." No extra details, no breakdown of my strategy, just a simple answer. And let me tell you, it felt amazing. The silence that followed was everything. People didn't know how to respond because I'd taken away their power to question my choices. And you know what? They eventually stopped asking. Here's the real beauty of not explaining yourself. It's freeing. It's you standing in your own truth, knowing that your decisions are enough simply because you've made them. When you stop justifying your actions, you give yourself permission to live authentically, without the weight of other people's expectations. You stop wasting your energy on explanations, and you start pouring it into actually living the life you want. There's a powerful lesson here. Your life doesn't need an audience vote. Not every decision has to be analyzed or approved by others. When you stop explaining yourself, you're letting people know, I'm confident enough in my choices that I don't need your approval. Think about it. When was the last time you saw a truly confident person breaking down their decisions for others? Probably never. Because people who own their lives don't need external validation. They know that the only approval that matters is their own. Look, I've been there. I used to be the person who'd give a full PowerPoint presentation on why I was doing something just to get people on board. But over time, I realized that explaining myself to everyone was only making me second-guess my choices. So I made a pact with myself. If someone asks me about a decision, I'll answer briefly, maybe give a sentence or two. If they push for more, I smile and move on. And you know what? Life got a lot lighter. The more I stopped explaining, the more confident I became in my own decisions. So here's my challenge to you. The next time someone questions your choices, resist the urge to explain. Just say, because I wanted to, or that's what felt right for me. Then let the silence speak. Watch how powerful that simple statement is. You'll feel stronger, more in control, and more at peace with yourself. And the best part, you'll realize that your choices don't need anyone else's stamp of approval. They're valid simply because you made them. Keep your distance. Let's be real. Sometimes the best way to handle people who don't respect you is to just keep your distance. I know it sounds harsh, maybe even a little cold, but here's the hard truth. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life, and if someone's consistently disrespecting you, one of the healthiest moves you can make is to give yourself some space from them. This doesn't mean you hate them or that you're being dramatic. It means you respect yourself enough to protect your energy. Keeping your distance isn't about being mean or ignoring people. It's about choosing where and how you spend your time and energy. Imagine your life as a limited access club. Not everyone gets a VIP pass. If someone's constantly crossing your boundaries, making you feel small, or just radiating negativity, why on earth would you keep them close? It's okay to step back. In fact, it's crucial. Distance can give you the clarity to see things as they really are, free from the fog of emotional manipulation or guilt. Think about it. When you keep people who disrespect you close, it's like inviting them to a mental and emotional buffet where they take, criticize, and judge as much as they want. And then we wonder why we feel drained, anxious, or frustrated. Giving yourself space from these people is an act of self-preservation. It's about protecting your mental health, preserving your peace, and making room for people who actually respect and uplift you. Letting go of the guilt around distancing yourself can be liberating. You're not obligated to keep disrespectful people in your orbit. I'll share a little story. I once had a friend who would always find a way to make snide comments about every choice I made: my career, my relationships, even my taste in music. At first I thought, well, that's just how they are. Maybe I'm overreacting. So I kept them around, kept trying to brush it off, thinking it wasn't that big of a deal. But over time, those little jabs started getting under my skin. I realized I was walking on eggshells, always bracing myself for the next criticism or the next joke that felt more like a punch. One day, I decided to try a different approach. I didn't make a big announcement or call them out. I just started limiting my time with them. Instead of seeing them every week, I'd see them maybe once a month. And guess what? I felt lighter. I felt freer. And in that space, I realized just how toxic that friendship had become. Distancing myself gave me the mental clarity to see that I deserved better friends. Friends who would build me up instead of tearing me down. Here's the thing. Some people are going to tell you that keeping your distance is selfish. They'll say, but they're family, or you've been friends for years. It can feel uncomfortable, maybe even a little taboo, to admit that someone you know well just isn't good for you. Society tells us to be loyal, forgiving, and nice, but at what cost? Here's a little secret. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's necessary. You're not here to be anyone's emotional punching bag or their constant source of validation. Sometimes the best way to show someone you've had enough is by simply stepping back. Here's where it gets deep. Keeping your distance is a powerful reminder that you are your own priority. You don't have to play the role someone else has assigned to you. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, your time, or your emotions. When you put a little space between yourself and disrespectful people, you're making a statement. Your well-being comes first, and that's not just self-care, it's self-respect. Distance also gives you the chance to focus on the relationships that matter, the ones that genuinely uplift you. Think about it. The more time you spend around people who respect you, the more confident and fulfilled you feel. The less time you spend around those who tear you down, the less room they have to impact your thoughts, your mood, and your life. I used to feel so guilty about distancing myself from people, even if they weren't treating me well. I'd think, what if they think I don't care? Or maybe I'm overreacting. But over time, I learned that distancing myself wasn't just about removing negativity, it was about creating space for growth. When I started giving myself permission to distance from disrespectful people, I felt a new kind of freedom. I had more energy, more peace, and a clearer vision of who I wanted in my life. So, here's my challenge to you. Think about the people in your life who constantly disrespect you, who make you feel small or drained. Then ask yourself, do they really deserve this much access to me? Hold your head high. All right, let's talk about an old-school classic that never goes out of style. Holding your head high. Now, I know this might sound like generic advice, but trust me, this one is pure gold when dealing with people who don't respect you. Here's the thing. When someone is disrespectful, they're banking on making you feel small. They want you to doubt yourself, to lower your eyes, to shrink into yourself. But when you stand tall and hold your head high, you're saying, without a word, I know exactly who I am, and nothing you say or do will make me feel less. Here's what's powerful about this. Confidence makes people uncomfortable, especially people who disrespect others. Why? Because they rely on the idea that their words or actions have the power to influence you, to control you in some way. When you refuse to let their disrespect touch you, when you literally stand taller and hold your head up high, you're showing them that they don't have the power to bring you down. You're unbreakable, And people who thrive on disrespect don't know what to do with that. It throws them off balance. It makes them question their power, not yours. I remember being in a situation with someone who just couldn't resist throwing little insults my way every time we met. You know the type. Always a smirk, always a joke that feels more like an attack. I used to try and brush it off, but honestly, it got to me. I found myself starting to dread being around them, feeling like I had to defend myself every time. But then, one day, I decided I was done feeling small. I showed up, shoulders back, head high, and every time they made one of their little comments, I just looked them in the eye, smiled, and carried on like nothing had happened. And you know what happened? They actually started backing off. It's like they could sense that their comments weren't reaching me anymore, that I was too far above that nonsense. And suddenly, their power faded. There's something magnetic about holding your head high. It's like a silent force field that says, I'm untouchable. Now, here's where it gets a little spicy. People who don't respect you often hate seeing you confident. It messes with their worldview. They want to believe they're above you, that they've got something on you. And when you walk around confidently, it disrupts that narrative. To them, it's almost offensive. Society doesn't always know what to do with people who are unapologetically sure of themselves, especially when they refuse to let others' negativity define them. And let's be real, that can make you a bit of a target. But here's the thing, holding your head high isn't about them, it's about you. It's about living as if you're fully aware of your worth, as if you've got nothing to prove. That can feel like a radical act of self-respect. When you hold your head high, you're making a statement about your self-worth. You're declaring that, no matter what, you see yourself as valuable, deserving of respect, and inherently enough. Here's the deeper message. Self-worth isn't something you earn from others. It's something you claim for yourself. No matter what others think or say, you walk through life as if you already have everything you need within you. And guess what? You do. Holding your head high is a constant reminder that you're the main character in your own story. No one else's opinion has the right to make you feel less. The beauty of it? The more you practice this, the less others' disrespect will even register. You'll be too busy living in your own lane, too secure in who you are, to be bothered by anyone else's attempts to knock you down. This didn't come naturally to me. I used to be the person who'd slouch, avoid eye contact, and shrink when people were critical or dismissive. It felt safer to disappear. But over time I noticed that every time I held my head high, every time I refused to let someone's negativity seep into my spirit, I felt stronger. It was like I was reminding myself over and over that I didn't need anyone's approval to feel worthy. I could simply stand tall in who I was. Holding your head high isn't just about physical posture, it's about mental posture too. Walk into every room like you belong there. Don't shrink yourself to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. If someone makes a snarky comment, let it roll off you. They're not seeing the real you, they're projecting their own insecurities. So why let it bother you? Here's my challenge to you. Next time you feel disrespected, whether it's a subtle dig or a full-on insult, don't react. Instead, take a deep breath, pull your shoulders back, and keep your head high. Look them straight in the eye, as if to say, I see you, but I'm above this. You'll feel a rush of confidence, a sense of peace that comes from knowing their words hold no power over you. Holding your head high is more than just good posture. It's a powerful, silent statement of your self-respect. It says, I know who I am, I value who I am, and nothing you say can change that. Because at the end of the day, Respect starts with you. The more you respect yourself, the less room there is for anyone else's disrespect to stick. Stand tall, own your worth, and remember, you're worth every bit of that confidence. Life's too short to spend it bending over backwards for people who can't see your value. You don't need anyone's permission to stand tall, protect your peace, and live life on your terms. People will try to bring you down, test your boundaries, and question your choices. That's just the world we live in. But here's the thing. You get to decide what energy you let in. You set the standard for how you're treated. The best part? The more you focus on your self-respect, the more you'll attract people who see your worth, who uplift you instead of dragging you down. It all starts with you owning your power and letting the rest fall into place. So, hold your head high, embrace the silence when it serves you, and never apologize for walking away from what doesn't serve you. Thanks so much for watching. If you got something out of this, give it a thumbs up and maybe even hit subscribe for more content on owning your life and building the confidence to thrive. Share this with someone who needs a reminder to stand tall. And hey, drop a comment below if you've got a story about handling disrespect or setting boundaries. I'd love to hear it. Until next time, take care, stay strong, and remember, respect starts with you.